What up? What up? Oh my gosh. Episode 2. That hasn't got that hasn't gotten old yet. We're still we're still early. It might get old after a while. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Just Visiting with Jonathan and Eric. I'll let you guess who's Jonathan and who's Eric. This is basically just a live stream discussion show where we take the time to visit all kinds of topics that have to do with our culture, that range from entertainment to sports, and we'll do usually politics and news towards the end, because we don't want to waste everybody's time with that all the time. So, but feel free to watch, and we are on Twitch, we are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, so we're on the big three. You guys can always check out.
We're on all the internet sites, all of them,
all the sites. Trying to
Google us, and we'll be there.
We're not on like Rumble yet. But, we'll be there one day. We'll be on Rumble one day. So I don't really know anybody who does Rumble. So I'm just, not that it's not important. I have a Rumble account. I just never, I don't know. Anyway, so feel free to, join the discussion. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and drop a comment. Make sure it's on the actual live stream itself. Same thing with YouTube. Feel free to please watch on our YouTube on our YouTube page, because I think the format's a little bit better there. That's just my opinion. Yeah. And then I really don't know how Twitch works, but you can go there too. So are you ever on Twitch?
No, I don't know how Twitch works either. I'm sorry. I don't. You're not alone in this.
We're like the only millennials who probably aren't on Twitch right now, making money off of Twitch as well. So, anyways, Jonathan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm ready for fall. Honestly, I'm like excited. Yes, I love the winter. Gosh. I love the winter time. I'm a burly man, so I'm sweating 3/4 of the year. And then the last quarter, I'm so happy that I'm cold. I'm like, yes, like everybody's cold and I love it. And I'm the one who's like if we went into a new ice age, I would survive. Like I would totally be the one. So like my wife probably wouldn't, but it's all good.
Ice age. No, thank you. I don't want any ice ages. I prefer the warm weather and I wish it was here to stay.
Man, we fought over
ice caps and such.
We fought over. I forgot how much we would fight over our thermostat in our room.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We didn't verbally say anything though. It was usually like we'd walk over there and turn it down, or
somebody would change it and then be like, did the air just cut away?
We're like, why is it low? And then we turn it back up. Anyways, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're doing good, man. Have you had a busy week? How's work been going?
Work's been going good, man. Same old. We're out here hustling, bustling, and getting that mad dash,
I hear
How about you?
Yeah. Good. My second half of the week's going to be busy. So, because Monday I worked for like a couple hours, and then Tuesday I was off basically yesterday, and then I kind of took the morning off this morning so we could prepare for this. Which normally we're on Tuesdays, guys, but basically just look for us once a week. And we'll be popping up in your news feed, but we're trying to get that more on a schedule, but we'll get it there eventually.
Yeah, if you haven't seen us, just send us a message on Facebook or something like, "What's up, guys? Where you at?" We'll
for sure.
We'll get around to it.
Anyways, well, we're gonna go to our first thing today. So, guys, we got a lot of Marvel stuff today, so that's why we titled our stream "Marvel Everywhere," because we have four Marvel things to talk about. We're gonna have a Shang-Chi review in a little bit. We're gonna get our trailer reactions out of the way, because those ones always seem to pop up first. So we'll get those out of the way first, and then we'll go from there. So, but the first thing, there was PlayStation Showcase this weekend. Jonathan, I didn't know if you knew that's what it was called, but basically it's kind of like, you can kind of imagine what it is. It's basically like E3, which is like the gaming type of showcase, but it's only PlayStation. So they were showing off a lot of their exclusives, and I was really excited for this. When I heard about it, I was actually more excited. I was more excited than Spider-Man 2 when I saw it. I'll be quite frankly, because I know. Well, because so what it is, guys, it's a Wolverine game. So PlayStation's doing a Wolverine game, and I haven't really played a Wolverine video game. But I know you loved Wolverine Origins, right? Wasn't it?
man, you can't tell people that out loud, okay?
No, I saw.
I want to get so much hate for that movie. I was listening to something the other day on YouTube, and this guy was like, yeah, and they had made Wolverine Origins, which is the worst movie ever, and I was like, okay, I liked the movie. Okay, I liked it. I'm sorry, it was one of my favorite movies at the time because I really liked the movie.
I was just talking about the video game, but you outed yourself as the movie guy. But no, I like that movie too. The first half of the movie is amazing. I mean, I love seeing him become Wolverine and he like goes through all those wars with his brother, like through the Revolutionary War.
Yeah,
like that was such a cool sequence. So, but I heard
I'm not going to say I was a fan of the Deadpool that they did, but I was a fan of the character in that movie. I was a fan of that. Not that he was Deadpool, but that character in that movie, I did like it. He was funny, and I liked his powers. I thought
that's fair. I mean, I feel like if you weren't super into Deadpool, like I could see how you would like that character. But if you know that that's who he's supposed to be, yeah, I mean, I could completely understand why you'd be so angry. But anyways, what I was referencing was the Wolverine X-Men Origins video game, because I heard that game was freaking amazing. I never played it. I know you did. So what did you like about it?
I mean, it was in a different era, obviously. So I don't know if a lot of people know, especially younger viewers, but there used to be a straight from movie to video game kind of releases that they would do for these like comic book movies. So Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, did those earlier Spider-Man. They all got straight to video game releases. Even Amazing Spider-Man, I think, also got some straight to video game releases too.
It did, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a different era. We don't even do that anymore. No one does that anymore.
Well, the last one wasn't too far away. They actually did Amazing Spider-Man 2 on the PS4.
Oh yeah.
When the PS4 like first came out, they did Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I played it. And I'll be honest, like the games probably weren't that great, but I couldn't tell because I just wanted to play a Spider-Man game. I just was like, I'm just gonna play it. Yeah, but I always heard the Wolverine. The only time I ever played as Wolverine in something was like when it was like a group Marvel game.
Yeah.
I think like Marvel Alliance? Was that the one that was big? I don't remember.
Yes. Oh, yes. Marvel Alliance. Yes. I was like, Marvel Alliance? Yes.
Yeah. Where it was like a top-down view and you like run around. Like that's the only time I've played as Wolverine. Yeah, and I mean, obviously a story-driven one would be good. So I was really excited about it. I knew we were getting a Spider-Man 2, so I think that's probably why Wolverine I was like, oh, Wolverine, like, I can't wait to play this game if I ever get a PS5.
We don't know though. Is it going to be like Avengers or is it going to be like Spider-Man? I mean,
I hope.
Do you know yet? Avengers. I don't know. I haven't heard any news about it.
Well, we'll play the trailer and we'll see. Give me a reaction afterwards. So let me pull this up real fast and we'll go from there and see what we get. So here we go. And see, and Insomniac's doing it. Same people who did Spider-Man PS4.
Of course, it's the bar scene. Of course,
it's gotta be. And for some reason, like country western just goes well with Wolverine. I don't even know why.
That was a cowboy hat.
Yeah, it was.
Come on, guy.
No, really? With the knife. I don't know why people always come up on him with a knife. Like, it's not gonna work. I mean, come on.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Snake. I like it.
I mean, how can you not like that? Just looks. I haven't seen anything about gameplay, but it looks like it's going to be story driven. I would imagine, and it looks like it's going to be single player. Otherwise, I think they probably would have shown other people.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, what do you think based off that?
I mean, I'll be excited about it. I think one of the things that we talked about was if it's going to be open world, how are you going to get around open world quickly? Because obviously with Spider-Man, you had swinging, so you could be on one end of New York and get to the other end very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. Or they maybe they'll do like the Spider-Man did and do the subway system. Maybe you have to ride the subway everywhere. I hope not, but maybe they'll give you some kind of vehicle. That's probably the thing I'm the most curious about. And also, I'm curious about the rating. Are they gonna? Are you gonna be Wolverine? Like, like Logan Wolverine,
like rated M for mature
yeah.
Wolverine, or are you going to be like?
Well, I mean, maybe you don't even have to
more?
give me rated R. I mean, rated M, but like, give me a strong T, like a hard T. Give me a hard T because, like, he's not like Spider-Man. You don't just punch somebody and they fall and it's like, oh, they passed out, or you knock them off a building and a web attaches to them and pulls them to the building. It's
I love that though. I love
he
that.
didn't kill him. He didn't kill him. It's like this is Wolverine though, so we can't have the same category of niceties that we have for Spider-Man.
No, I agree. I mean, Wolverine, you definitely can't. You can't do that same thing with Wolverine. Plus, that's actually what makes Spider-Man and Wolverine such a great duo, right? Is because Wolverine is like the much harsher like person, and Spider-Man's like, what? You can't. Why are you being so brutal? Like, oh my god,
you can't chop off that guy's hand.
Yeah, like you can't do that. So, also, isn't Wolverine in the comics? Isn't he kind of faster than the normal human? I'm not saying he's like Steve Rogers quick with like the super serum, but isn't he? So I mean, I don't know if they'll have some sort of element where he's running really fast, or
I would be surprised. He again, so like you said, he's not Steve. So like if you watch Civil War, you'll see the scene where Captain America Civil War? No, Civil War, or you can probably a better picture would be if you watch
Winter Soldier, maybe.
No. I was thinking of right before Endgame. I should know this. I'm sorry.
Infinity War?
Infinity War, yes.
Okay.
If you're thinking of Infinity War, that scene right before they're about to face the faceless army of they're about to fight in Wakanda, you can see Captain America and Black Panther running the fastest. He's not like that. He doesn't have that kind of speed whatsoever.
Well, and you can see them running. They run against cars, I think. In the Civil War.
In Civil War, they run against
cars.
This is what I was thinking of. He doesn't have that kind of speed at all. Now he's quick. I'll say he's quick, but he's not like long speed fast. So I would be very surprised if there was some sort of way that he could get around the city that kind of quick. He's more like kind of like when you run with Spider-Man. And even in that game, they kind of downplay his actual speed. But that's probably more where Wolverine is around.
Do you think it'll be last thing, because I know we got to move on? Do you think how much of the open world effect do you think it'll play? Because I think there'll probably be some sort of element of that. But again, if he doesn't really have a travel type of, they could give him a motorcycle because he's often seen with a motorcycle. Yeah. But I don't know. I could see them maybe doing a more limited open world where it's a more mission based, possibly. I don't know.
Could be. I mean, I'm just. I think my thing I'm most curious about, like I said before, will be the mode of transportation, but also how they're going to allow him to fight. Is it because in most Wolverine games that we've gotten, I can't recall one where you could actually cut someone's limbs off, and with his powers, that's literally like that. That's the most realistic thing that's going to happen. Yeah. If I come at you with with these razor sharp claws that are like they're very thick, and I'm swinging in a downward motion, I'm going to cut something off. So I'm curious how they're going to, because they've had Avengers already, and they've had is Guardians of the Galaxy? I'm guessing Guardians of the Galaxy is under Marvel, so Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, and they've had Spider-Man and Miles Morales as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's under Insomniac though. Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy, that was done by the people who did Avengers, Square Enix.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking because it says it's the same title. Like it's like Marvel's Avengers, Marvel's Spider-Man, Marvel's. So I'm assuming they're all existing within the same world at least. Yeah, but they could not be because they're from different game companies.
Well, I think so because Spider-Man's coming to Avengers pretty soon. They released that. So I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, I'm really excited for that game. But the next one we're going to jump into. Excuse me. By the way, could you hear the audio on that just fine? Yeah. I didn't ask. Okay. Yeah. The next one we're going to watch the Spider-Man 2 teaser trailer that came out, which I really liked what they talked about in this one as well. I was pretty excited for it. So we're gonna bring it up here. Again, Insomniac. So which they also make Ratchet and Clank, which their newer games are actually really fun. I got the first one for free. It was great. feel like the graphics are going to be so
For
great.
as long as I can remember, I have looked for an equal.
That's Craven. I'm assuming.
Craven?
Yeah, he said he's looking for an equal, so I'm guessing Craven. Dang.
One could surprise me.
I really got to play that game.
Even beat me.
I know. I got to play Miles Morales. I haven't played it
yet. Yet all I found is disappointment.
I love seeing them together
one of you
too. I think that's so dope.
Give me what I desire.
Oh snap! This is a really cool trailer.
I know. Right?
We will
go.
Oh, Venom! What?
I'm so excited. I was really hoping Venom would be in this one because I assumed he would be because they teased him at the end of the first game. We gotta wait a while though. That kind of sucks.
I'm gonna be so old.
I mean, I don't know, but I was pretty excited about that. That they put Venom in it because do you remember at the end of the first game they like show Harry, and Harry's like he's like in a tank that I forget, it has something to do with the symbiote. It's supposed to be healing him.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that. But you got any expectations for the second one?
No, I mean I knew Venom was gonna be in it because I was like. I remember when I finished Spider-Man, I was like, why isn't there a black version of his costume on this game? It's so weird. And so I looked it up and they were like, oh, well, we wanted Venom's his own separate game. So we're going to do a whole Venom game. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. I'm okay with that. I mean, I think we talked about this before. I'm not really a huge Venom person. I like the black suit. I love the black suit. I love what it does to him, but I'm not huge, like, Venom's my favorite villain at all of Spider-Man's villains. I don't think so.
Who is your favorite? Just curious. Green Goblin?
Yeah, probably. And this is, I would say, the movies probably had a bigger effect on me than the comics did. But I would say Green Goblin and then Doc Ock were probably my two favorite villains.
Really?
Spider-Man's.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I've always liked Venom. I'm getting a little old. Like, I'm getting a little old of the trope in superhero movies where you have a good version and a bad version. But, like, I guess Spider-Man was my first experience with that, where it was like, there's good Spider-Man and then there's bad Spider-Man who's Venom, who looks like him. Yeah. So I always liked him for that reason. I'm more excited about, I like Carnage a lot. I think Carnage has if you want like a dark story, Carnage is like the way to go, which I don't think the movie is going to do him justice. No. It's rated PG-13, so I don't, unless they just talk about what he's done, that might give it off. But for you guys who don't know, Carnage is like, he's basically the symbiote comes from the guy named Eddie Brock in the comics who was Venom, and what ends up happening is that a serial killer named Cletus Cassidy gets the symbiote. The Venom symbiote, and I think it comes from Eddie Brock's blood. That's why it's red. It like mixes with his blood, and it gets on to Cletus Cassidy. And Cletus Cassidy is horrible. Like, he pushed his grandmother downstairs on purpose when he was like 6. And why are you laughing at that? It's horrible.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking like a 6-year-old pushing like an old lady downstairs. That wasn't funny. That wasn't funny. I was just thinking of. I know. Like the mental image of it was just like in my head. It was just like, what?
It's like, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. So, but he did stuff like that, and I won't talk about some of the other horrible things. But that's just like the tip of the iceberg. Like, he's done extremely horrible things. So I think he's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if they'll ever bring him into the MCU. He might be too dark, but anyways. But I'm looking forward to that. So
this is my thing. So I don't know if are we doing the Venom? We're not doing the Venom trailer, are we?
Not today, no.
Okay, yeah. In the Venom trailer that I saw, it said in association with Marvel. So now I'm kind of wondering if they're in the same universe or not.
There's kind of been like hints that they might be. So I'm excited to see. I bet we'll find something out, honestly, in this next.
You think it's going to be in the movie, or you think it's going to be like an in-trailer credit where he kind of like meets Spider-Man or something like that, and he's like, "We went to high school together." What? You're old, dude. No,
I can see. I think there'll be hints in the movie that it's in the same universe. Or we might get an end credit scene. But I think I could see how, they might have like the Daily Bugle in there with J. Jonah Jameson. I could totally see him making an appearance. And they're like, whoa, it's in the same universe, which I think we're getting it after Spider-Man or before. We're getting it before Spider-Man No Way Home, I think.
We're talking about Venom, the second Venom movie?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like October 1st or October 6th or something like that.
Yeah, so it's before then. Yeah, it's 2 months before. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm looking for it. I think it's going to be good. But do you have anything else to say on the Spider-Man trailer?
No, man, I'm excited. I mean, like, I really want to play Miles Morales. I heard that game was not like a huge upgrade to the Spider-Man game, but like it was another really good Spider-Man game. So I'm excited to play that one. So I mean, hopefully we get. I don't know. I don't know that I want more villains than last time, but maybe an even bigger world than what we had before. It was huge. Yeah. It was huge, but maybe like even somehow we can get to another city or go somewhere else. And a deeper storyline about Peter, I guess, is what I would like to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, me as well. I think I'd also like to see. Well, they kind of talked about Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm such an Uncle Ben, like like I want to see the origin. I
don't know why people don't like the origin. The origin is so good. Every time I watch it on any of the Spider-Mans that I've seen it on, anytime I reread it in the comic books, because the comic books flash back to it all the time. Mm-hmm. And so anytime I see it again, I'm like, dang it! Like it hits home like a second time. It's like the first time I saw it, like the second time. It's like, wow. If you have the power, you should be responsible with it. Like, I get it. It makes sense to me. Even the second time I've seen it.
Well, the fourth time. They kind of said that in Marvel, like, just a little bit.
I was so upset about that.
If you have the ability to do something and you don't, then it's your fault. Like,
why not just say it? Like, why can't we just say the saying? Like, everyone already knows it. We could even have, like, everyone say it together. We'd all say it together in the theater. It'd be a good time, man.
I don't know. Yeah. It's crazy. But by the way, the chat says that it is before No Way Home, so you were right. So okay. I was wondering about that myself. But anyways, we will move on to our final Marvel trailer, which I'm super excited. I didn't think I would be that excited for this show. I was kind of like, cool. Like, so it's the Hawkeye show.
Yeah.
That's going to be on Disney Plus. And to be honest, I think it's because it's so, for some reason, I've started to realize I prefer more grounded takes on superhero characters. I've just noticed with some of the like WandaVision, with WandaVision and a few other shows that were kind of up in the air, I preferred the more grounded take. Except for the only time that wasn't true was like, I think I actually liked Loki more than I liked Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, same thing now. Like that's why it's fun to me. I'm like, if they do a season 2, it's gonna be Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Anyways, so I actually liked Loki a little bit better, which wasn't as grounded. But anyways, I've just kind of noticed that like I'm rewatching Daredevil right now, and I'm just like, man, I just love the grittiness and the real like feeling of this. And so when I watched the Hawkeye trailer, for the first time, I was like, wow, I get that same feeling. And I'm interested in this. Like, I'm a little more, I don't know. I'm just like, I really want to see the show. I was more excited for it than I think some of the other ones. Mm-hmm. So anyways, we'll watch the trailer. Have you watched the trailer yet, by the way?
No, I have not. I haven't seen any of these trailers.
Man, you're much better than me at this. Like, I need to stop watching them ahead of time.
I don't like trailers. I just don't like them. I think they spoil too much.
By the way, we're for Jonathan's sake, we're going to have a rule on the show where we are only going to watch the first trailer. So we will not watch multiple trailers because I mean, I understand Marvel is way too.
I'll give you this though. Like if we watch a teaser, we can then watch the full trailer. I'm okay with doing that because the teaser, that Wolverine teaser, I didn't get anything about the game. So if we watched another trailer like later on down the line, I'm fine with that. But like if we kind of pretty much saw enough of Spider-Man No Way Home. So I don't need to see anything else of that.
I agree. So I don't even know if they'll put out another trailer. I mean, it comes out in December, so they probably will, but I don't know. Anyways, well, we're going to get started on this. So this is going to be for Hawkeye. And I'm going to pull this up real fast, but any expectations before you see the trailer?
No, I'm actually really excited for the show, though. I am.
Really?
I actually really like this character.
I didn't think you would be.
No, it was weird to me when people were saying, "Oh my gosh, Hawkeye's getting a show too." I was like, "Why? That's really cool." Like we get to know more about these smaller characters who didn't really get much, who didn't get much appreciation in the big show. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I honestly, like Black Widow, Hawkeye should have had a movie a while ago. So I mean, and I actually like Jeremy Renner in it a lot. Like in Avengers 2, he was such a I liked his role in Avengers 2 much more than the first one. But every time we get Hawkeye, I don't know, I want more of his presence. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and play this trailer. I'll start it back at the beginning here, and we'll go from there. It's also Christmas themed, which I love. So
this is the first Christmas we've had together in years.
I love you guys.
I like that he's with his family.
I'm making up for some lost time.
I also like that they're going to see Rogers the musical.
Authorities are wondering if the masked vigilante who terrorized the city's underworld is back.
Oh man, his past.
The past is caught
Yeah,
up with
man.
me.
Should we be worried?
No, it's nothing. I'll be home for Christmas.
I'm glad they're talking about it because I really wanted to know more about him as Ronin.
Yeah, me too.
Because they just barely touched on it in Endgame.
When I wore this suit, I made a whole lot of enemies.
I also want to know why he became I guess more about
You're Hawkeye.
him being
Who
Ronin.
the hell are you?
Some people have actually called me the world's greatest archer.
What?
Hey, Bishop!
Are you one of those people?
It's the most wonderful.
Hey, babe, I should be back in a day or two. Hang on a second.
With the kids jingle bells.
Yeah, let's go!
Things have gotten more complicated.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I love the spy feel of this.
It's the most wonderful time.
Come with a bow.
This is too dangerous. Definitely not this one.
You don't have to say something like that. Holy shit! Are arrows more dangerous than that one?
Just some Christmas.
I love it. Oh man,
Excited.
that's the second time I watched it. It was better than the first time I watched it. Oh man, yeah, I can't wait. What did you think?
I mean, you sing a Christmas song, you got me. I'm already on board. Like anything that has to do with a Christmas song, I'm on board for it. So yeah, I'm super hyped.
Even Iron Man 3?
Okay, I see what you did there. You got me. Maybe not anything Christmas themed.
Okay, all right.
I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do with his character. I really want the show to be focused around him. And I want Kate Bishop to be a part of the show, but I just want really us to get a magnifying glass on who this
Hawkeye
guy is. Why did he come to S.H.I.E.L.D. in the first place? Why did he choose an arrow out of all things when there are guns around? You know?
Yeah,
those kind of things. I don't want I don't want too much quippy play off, of the serious topics that we really want to know about. But I would like to really understand who he is as a character, kind of the way we got a whole background into Falcon. That was so awesome. I loved watching him on the boat. I loved watching him with his sister trying to go to a bank and get a loan. That was awesome.
Those were actually my favorite scenes from that show. Was the backstory on Falcon. Yeah, I preferred that a lot. I totally agree. I mean, I'm hoping that they'll talk about that a little bit. And that you raised a good question. Why did he choose a bow and arrow? What was the whole point behind that? Yeah. I mean, and one of my, honestly, from Endgame, I love that they opened it up. They opened Endgame with his family disappearing. So getting to see him with his family in this is pretty cool as well at the beginning. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more of that dynamic because we don't really know his family very much. We just know that I think he has a boy and a girl, I think, right? And then he's got a wife.
I think so.
I thought that was it, but he might have 3 kids. But I'm really excited for that, and I'd like to see more of just what he's like. Also, I love the whole spy kind of feel a little bit. When he caught the Molotov cocktail and threw it back out, that was hilarious. Yeah. Because I think that's who he should be. He should just be and he should be a little more humorous because he's kind of the funny side of, whenever you would see him and Black Widow together, he was always kind of the more like comedic one, and she was kind of like, we're trying to be serious, So they like, I kind of want to see him be played up a little bit. What did you think of Kate Bishop saying she's the greatest archer?
I thought it was funny. I want Kate Bishop to be a part of this, but I just don't want her to be the main focus of the show. Like,
you don't want to take it over.
Yeah,
right?
And that's kind of what I was afraid of with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought that the show would become more about the villain than it would be about us understanding Falcon as a character, and especially the fact that he gave the shield the very first episode. It was like, okay, I really want to know why. Like, I need to understand this, and then. I mean, they kind of strung us out with it until the very end, but
they finally talked about it.
Yeah. But I want the show to be about Clint Barton and us understanding him as a character. Like, I really want to. I want to know who he is, and I think that'll give us a greater appreciation for his role in the Avengers. Because to me, honestly, and to a lot of fans, or especially a lot of people who haven't read the comic books, so they don't really know his background or his skill level, he doesn't seem like he fits among the gods and the Men of Steel and, the guy who's lived forever. He doesn't really fit in that puzzle piece. So understanding him more will help us be able to understand why he was recruited for the Avengers, I think.
Yeah. I'd also like to know like why he got in his shield and things like that. That would be interesting. Yeah. Especially when he has a family. Like,
exactly.
Why would you?
That's my question too.
Why did he get married? Just leave?
Was it like during or before? Like,
yeah, for sure. So hopefully they go into that. I think honestly, it's one of the weirdest things about the show is why I think it'll be so good. Is it does not seem like it doesn't seem very important as far as the entire Marvel universe.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'll agree with that.
There's no tension on it of like, what is this show gonna do? Because I think while I love that, like I loved that about Loki, and I also liked that about WandaVision a lot. I'm like, this is kind of nice. Like, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch this like show about a dude who just like has a bow and arrow, and he's gonna go around and like, he's going on this mission for whatever reason to stop these people who are dressing up as Ronin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's just gonna like, I don't know. It just felt a lot more chill, and I think that's the vibe they were going for.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that.
Dang, I totally agree with that. I love the fact that we don't have any expectations about this show. Like, Loki had to carry the weight of the entire multiverse going into it. And WandaVision obviously had like her entire history and fulfilling the whole expectation of House of M. Everyone wanted that. And I think Captain Falcon was hampered with the fact that he had to fill Captain America's shoes and all that kind of stuff. So I think like this.
Yeah. I think one reason I didn't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier as much is because it probably didn't meet my expectations, True. And I think everybody watching Hawkeye was just kind of like, oh, Hawkeye, okay, like, and so when it comes up, it's like the trailer was just like there was so much action going on. It's exactly what you wanted. Like the feel was great. So I was super excited about that. Thank you for the like, whoever left a like. Thank you for that, by the way. Continue, guys, to, while I stop in the middle of this, make sure you comment, like, if you are on YouTube, please give us a subscribe and hit that bell notification. Not to sound cheesy, but do that. Or you can follow us on Twitch as well. We're on Twitch and we're on Facebook as well. So
yeah, like we always say, we're gonna try to. We haven't done it yet, but we're going to, guys. We're going to clip this show, so there are going to be like segments on just like what we talked about with Falcon and Winter Soldier, or with the Wolverine trailer that we went over ahead of time, earlier. And you can like share those clips with your friends, share those with other people if you think we're stupid because we make no sense or we're contradicting ourselves all the time or whatever. Also, you just agree with us because we're always 100% right about everything we talk about.
Obviously, Jonathan is at least.
Yeah, at the very least, I am. Then you can share that with other people and let them in on how right we are, because obviously we're on the internet, so we're to be believed and trusted.
For sure. I think we should give Hannah a shout out here. She said she's gonna go follow right now.
Hey,
so thank
what's
you
up,
for that,
Hannah?
Thank you so much. You're awesome. We appreciate that. So anyways, we're gonna keep the train rolling here. Hannah's but also what'd you say?
I said Hannah's my peeps.
Oh, let's go.
She's part of the family.
What's a peep?
I don't know, man.
I'm white. I don't. No, I'm just kidding. So the other thing too, guys, is exclusively on YouTube. You can watch the first episode, so you can go on there. We also have the it's not as clean. It still has the same content, but you can also watch it on Facebook as well, but it's not the edited version. So if you want to go over to YouTube, you can watch the edited version. It's a little bit cleaner looking, but we have that up as well, so you guys can watch that, comment on it also. So anyways, we're going to move on to the next order of business. Our last trailer for today, which I don't know if I'm ready to watch this, man, because I have not seen the second. I've not seen the second and third movie, which I might get crucified for. But I've only seen. We're gonna watch the new Matrix trailer.
Yeah, you ask any Matrix fan, they're gonna tell you you're not missing much with the second and third one.
That's what I've always been told.
I like the third one, even though the CGI was absolutely dreadful and it looked like a cartoon show that I was watching. I like the third one. I did. Now I haven't seen Animatrix, which is I've been told a lot of people like that one. But
was that the anime?
I think so. It was a I don't know. All I know it was an animated version of Matrix, and it was like it was different, following different people.
It's supposed to tie in, right?
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. I like Keanu Reeves though, so I like him in almost anything. Almost anything you get me some Keanu Reeves, I'm down with it. Especially a serious Keanu Reeves.
Did you watch Bill and Ted?
No, that's why I said serious. I haven't seen any of the funny Keanu stuff. But
the first thing I ever saw Keanu Reeves in was Speed, and that was the first movie was really good, honestly, hands down. Like that was a great movie. I never saw the sequel. I heard it was garbage. But anyways, I'm excited. Hannah is also excited to see the Matrix. She's gonna follow us, so I have to give her a shout out. So she's also excited to see the Matrix. But we're gonna go ahead and pull that up, Jonathan, if you want to pull that up real fast.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I mean, I saw the first Matrix and I loved it. I just never saw the second and third one because I always heard they weren't that great. So I kind of, honestly, that's probably why I never saw them. Like,
no, you should go watch them, man. Okay, so
I will.
This is my problem with just like internet culture as a whole. I think people try to make like these overarching claims for everybody, and they're like, "This movie was the worst. No one liked this movie." And it's like, "Hey, I actually liked Wolverine Origins. I'm sorry, I did." And I'm not gonna stop saying that. I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. But you should definitely go watch it. If you haven't seen the first two, the last two, you should definitely go watch them. All right, Here we go.
I'm excited.
Is my sound on? Oh, my sound's not on. Okay, let me start over.
No
Sound
problem.
wasn't on. Here we go.
Oh, Jonathan, your sound's not on.
Huh?
Your sound's not on, bro.
My sound isn't on?
Nope.
I just cut it on. That's weird.
I think it might be did you click that check mark box before you streamed it over?
And that's what it is. And that's why I have a partner on this channel. That's exactly
what we're here for. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
The software we're using has this slight kind of dumb thing where it's like, do you want, it's like a tiny little box and it's like, do you want to like have sound with this video? It's like, why would you ask that? Like,
like it should be a yes every time. You would think there'd be an option to put, but hey, we love Streamlabs, guys. We love Streamlabs. They've done us much better than other software we've used.
StreamYard.
StreamYard, yes. StreamYard. All right, here we go.
Okay, let's do it. They have done a great job. There we go.
Okay, here we go.
You seem particularly triggered right now. Can you tell me what happened?
It's Barney.
Let's go, Patrick Neal.
Dreams that weren't just dreams.
Oh, snap. Oh, literally
Am I
snap.
crazy? We don't use that word in here.
Man, I'm already like
in the third one. I'm
already down for this. Like I haven't even seen anything else.
The ducky. Okay.
Hi.
Oh snap!
What's her name?
Randy.
I forgot her name.
Oh, he's taking blue pills. What?
Really? So does he want to live in the Matrix?
I'm very confused. I have a lot of questions.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, there you go. No more drugs. That's a good illustration.
What was it? Wonderland?
Yeah, Alice in Wonderland.
Time to fly.
Oh, snap.
Is that fake Morpheus? Who is that? That's not my Morpheus.
You're going to have to fly.
Oh, it's the bunny.
Hashtag not my Morpheus.
The only thing
I'm
that
making a
matters to you
movement.
is still here. I know it's why you're still fighting and why you will never give up.
Oh.
You don't know me. No?
Let's go, Neo.
Oh, snap.
Oh gosh. Oh, this Christmas?
Oh, snap. Wow.
Oh my gosh. I have to watch the other two. I have to.
All right, we haven't really seen Matrix scene yet.
Oh. Man, I don't know.
Snap. Yes, sir. Maybe it's like supposed to be like a young Morpheus. Maybe that's what it is. Oh, snap. Okay.
Dang. Bro, this movie is going to be so great with the newer special effects.
The newer CGI and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, he's stopping the bullets again.
After all these years, to be going back to where it all started. Back to the Matrix.
Dang. I thought we were going to get a hello, Mr. Anderson. I was so ready for that. I was like, literally, like, I'm sure at the end of this we're gonna get like a Mr. Smith reference.
I would have loved that. I would have loved that. Man, that trailer was so good. I'm not even. Hannah was correct. Like, it does look really good. I'm so surprised. Man, I've only seen the first one. I feel like I have to watch the second and third one now.
Yes, I mean, to rewatch them myself because I don't remember what happened at the end of the third one. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, for sure. I don't. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I heard the second one. Was it the second one is okay? I heard the third one is just like horrible. Like, if you're a fan. That's
they got too complicated. I mean, so the great thing about the first one was we didn't have to go to Zion really, almost at all. And so we kind of just stayed in the Matrix and we kind of watched all these awesome action scenes, especially for that time period. It was like really crazy. Like, you've never seen anything like that before, which is why like everyone copies it now.
For sure.
But the second and third ones were like more in Zion, which is this like really weird like cave dwelling people, and they're like raving all the time, which is kind of weird. Also, just a bunch of weird stuff was happening, and it had nothing really to do with like going back into the Matrix and like watching that stuff happen again.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know to be honest, the reason I watched the Matrix in the first place was because in Bible college, in my Intro to New Testament class, my teacher, he recommended watching it because we talked about Plato's allegory of the cave and how, the whole point of it is kind of like, if I remember it correctly, it's basically like if you see, I forget how to explain it. I don't want to botch it, but basically it has to do with, there's an exit to the cave and he's trying to find where it's at. And so there's like a shadow from light that's going into the cave. And it's basically, it's all about, it's all about a fake perspective, like having a false perspective on the world. And that there's actually something behind you going on. And so that's essentially what the Matrix is about. And then he also brought into, a lot of biblical comparisons to the Matrix. So that's how I got into the Matrix. And when that was shown to me, I was like, whoa, the Matrix is so freaking good. Never understood why it was rated R. Like, if the first one's rated R and there's like no cussing in it or anything. And I think on the back it says for like sci-fi elements. Like,
I don't know why. I don't even recall any real blood in the movie.
No,
they do kill a bunch of people. They do kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, but there's like no blood, at all, know. And now the woman who I can never remember her name, Trinity? She's an actress. What's it?
From Trinity?
Yeah, is that Trinity? She's from Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
She's in Jessica.
She's the lawyer in Jessica.
She is. I know, it's full circle, man.
That's crazy.
I don't know if
Crazy.
anybody here has watched Jessica Jones. That show, the first season of Jessica Jones was great. I'm not.
Second season was pretty good too. Okay.
No, it wasn't. It was not. Don't even talk about the third season. I didn't even finish it. I didn't even finish the third season. It was horrible. But yeah, she's in that one. I was trying to remember because I forgot she was in the first movie. But yeah, oh man, I love that trailer. Why do you think? So I did see something on the internet about Morpheus being replaced. Do you think that's actually Morpheus, or do you think that's somebody else?
That was my question. I was thinking maybe they're trying to do like a young Morpheus. He looks like Morpheus. Like he has the little like spectacles and everything. So like I'm not sure why we would assume he's not Morpheus unless they told us he wasn't Morpheus.
What's the name of the actor who played him? He's in the second Ant-Man. He's in a bunch of other movies.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne. That's right.
Yeah.
I just remembered. I don't know if anybody has seen this out there, but have you seen the video of Samuel L. Jackson being called Lawrence Fishburne?
Yeah. The other black guy. The other one.
I am not Lawrence Fishburne.
What's in your wallet?
What's in your wallet? That's me. Yeah. Anyways, I loved Lawrence Fishburne in that role, so I'm surprised. And you would think that he would totally be down to do another one, right?
Yeah.
Like you would think he would be. So, I mean, unless he's just like, nah, I don't want to do it anymore. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I'd be. I mean, just because he wasn't in the trailer does not mean he's not in the movie, though.
Mm-hmm. So it could just be bait.
Yeah.
Could be a bait and switch.
Yeah,
type
it could
thing.
be. It could be, or it could be related to the movie. Could be part of the movie that he's not that like it's a different Morpheus this time or something like that, or I don't know. But
multiverse. I don't know. Everybody's doing it, so
why not?
Why not? Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious to understand what the plot of the movie is. Is it like he's trying to, which is why I want to go back and watch the third one because I don't remember what happened at the end. Did he forget that he was in the Matrix, or did he fix the Matrix and now it's like a different kind of deal where like things are good?
I think he wants to live there. That's the thing that I got from that. Maybe it's the burden of being the one.
Okay.
And he's just like, I can't take that burden. I don't know. It might not be. But when he had that many blue pills and he was just popping like 5 of them at a time.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude, he obviously knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, he obviously knows. But it might be one of those things where he just can't, you know, it could be that maybe he can't get away from the fact that there's something outside of the Matrix. You know, and so he's taking all these blue pills, but he's experienced so much, you know, because it's almost like he's drugging himself to not experience what's outside of the Matrix.
Yeah, I mean, so the progression of the Matrix trilogy was that he basically became so OP at the end that he was basically like, he basically became like the god of the universe.
Yeah.
So maybe part of it is like he's trying to reestablish his humanity because he lost his humanity by becoming so powerful because he was the one.
It could be that. That'd be interesting. Do you think we'll get a flashback to classic Neo? Like, do you think he'll shave and cut his hair and then he like wears the glasses again, or do you think they'll just keep the beard?
Maybe at some point. I mean, my question would be: are they planning more movies after this one? Is this like going to be a normal thing?
Ask, yeah.
Or is this just like a one-off that like it's just a memory berry, you know, like, hey, remember Neo? Remember the Matrix?
You got to think in this. I'm sure they're going for another trilogy.
Okay,
I guarantee.
Wow.
I guarantee. You know, they're going to do 3 more movies, or like this one and 2 more.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a cash cow. But this one has to be well. This one has to go really well, or the next 2 are not going to get the kind of revenue you want. So
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, in this, you know, we're living in the time. Still, I feel like this era is never ending. But we're still living in the time of sequels and reboots. You know, everybody's doing a reboot. Everybody's doing
it's all nostalgia. Yeah, it's all nostalgia now.
No creative people out there anymore. Just kidding. But anyway, so I think they're going to do, I could see them doing another trilogy. That seems to be what most people are doing. Like they're doing 3 and then they're like, hey, it was really popular in the 90s and 80s and 2000s. So like, we'll do it again. What I don't understand is doing reboots to movies that happened in the 2000s. That doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, yeah. Because that's probably a little bit too recent.
Yeah, it's like, 30 years makes sense, but like 20 years, like that, like they're already talking about doing. I guess they're doing a Shrek reboot.
No, I don't want that.
Well, it's gonna have the
Here's
same
my
cast.
question: who asks for these
makes
things?
sense.
Like, who's asking for a Shrek reboot? Like, what person is
Hollywood?
like? You know what I would like? I would like to see Shrek rebooted. Maybe let's make it like real life this time. It's like, who's asking for that?
Go watch Shrek the musical.
Yeah.
My wife, like one of her favorite musical songs is like, or like Broadway show tunes is like from Shrek the musical.
Oh,
She,
really?
like, yeah. I forget
Wow.
which one it is. It's a song Fiona sings. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Well, before we jump into the next thing, I did want to let you know. I'm sorry. One of the comments popped up, and did you see this?
Shrek multiverse. No one is asking for that.
What?
No one is asking.
It's just
for
gonna
that.
it's gonna be a Mike Myers multiverse.
I wonder. Here's my question: who asked for them to bring back Matrix? Like, I think people were pretty much fine with it being dead. Now, I would say I think we want more of this new Keanu Reeves that we got. I think we want more of that, but I don't think it necessarily has to be Matrix. Like,
I saw something where they were like, why does Neo have a beard? And they're like, they want Keanu Reeves to have a beard. Like, they want him to have a beard. Like,
that's fine. I'm fine with that. I mean, he looks scraggly. Like, he looks really rough. But I guess that's what they're trying to put off on you. Like, is that he's like going through all this like withdrawal of the Matrix, maybe or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the other movies I haven't watched are the John Wick series.
What? Yeah, watched 2 and 3?
Take my man card, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, I couldn't get over the first one. Okay, the narrative was so. My dog died.
It's not about the narrative. I told you this when we watched the movie. I said it's not about the narrative. It's just about it's an excuse to give you an action flick.
They're
They're
Chuck
looking
Norris
for any
movies,
excuse
man.
to give you an action flick. They're like,
they're Chuck Norris movies.
Here's Keanu Reeves shooting a bunch of people. What's the story about? I don't know. His dog died. Don't worry about that. Like, he's killing people. Like, just focus on that.
Oh my gosh. Well, whenever I watched it, all I thought was that the movie is just a huge Chuck Norris joke. Like, they're just like, it's John Wick. Oh my gosh. Like, you know, like, and everybody just knows who John Wick is. It's like you have to whisper his name. You can't say it out loud. It's like Wilson Fisk in Daredevil. It's like, don't say his name because he'll come out of the shadows.
Names we do not say. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
like Harry Potter. It's like Harry Potter, basically.
I have heard the narrative gets better, so I have thought about watching them, but you know, I don't know.
Does the storyline get better? Not really. I mean, I don't think so. At least I thought it. I mean, but then again, I didn't really watch it for the storyline, so maybe I wasn't paying attention enough. But I didn't think the storyline got any better. I think the second one's probably a little bit better in story, but the third one, by the time the third one hits, you're just like, okay, this is just Hollywood getting a bunch of actors together to kill people. Like, we're just watching them do their thing. This is cool. Yeah. I like that. I want that. I want more of it. Please give me more of it.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I love mindless action. You know, it is fun. It is fun. I just remember watching the first one. Everybody hyped it up like the best movie ever, and then I saw it, and I was like, this movie is not good. Like, I'm like, yes, the action is great, but I was like, the storyline is just so like, it's hard for me to stick with it. Like, sure, if I want to watch a movie about like senseless violence, like, yeah, I'll watch it, but like. Anyways, that's my rant for the day.
Someone's gonna comment on this video. It's not about his dog. It's about his wife and his connection to her. Like, okay, it was really about his dog.
My wife doesn't even want to watch the movie, and she argues that point. And she argues that point with me. She's like, "Well, the dog was important because the dog." You know, she's a big animal lover, so she's like, "The dog symbolizes like the love of his wife, and they killed it, and it's horrible." And I'm like. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to go kill gangs of people because of a dog. Anyways, it's just, I don't know.
Man.
Anyways, I just feel gross now that we argued about that. I don't even know why. Anyways, so we're going to go ahead and move on. But before I do that, Jonathan, I did want to let you know, we're going to have a short little, I just want to know your expectations. So we have DC Fandom coming up this week. Do you know what DC Fandom is? Yeah,
it's kind of like the Marvel Showcase, right? It's like they're previewing their new stuff.
Yeah, and so apparently there's going to be a lot of DC movies that trailers are going to be dropped. So, guys, next next week's episode might be DC everywhere because there's supposed to be a lot. But we're supposed to see Aquaman 2 trailer. We're supposed to see Black Adam trailer, Shazam 2 trailer. We're supposed to see there's a couple other ones too. A new trailer for The Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson.
Whenever that's gonna come out.
That's coming out, bro. It's coming out the beginning of next year.
Sure. Yeah.
It is.
Let's say that. We'll stick with the narrative.
I forgot how much I'm a hopeful person. You are not a hopeful person when it comes to
killed me. I don't know what to do with them anymore. I want, and I should be grateful. Like I honestly feel bad because I should be grateful that I'm getting anything, but it's just been so mismanaged for so long. I'm like skeptical anytime I get any kind of good news. Like you're telling me there's a lot of trailers coming out. I'm like, well, DC, they have a history of overpromising.
Oh, we're also getting one for the Flash.
Okay.
It's your favorite superhero, man.
I want so bad to want it, but like I feel like every time I'm like, okay, I really want it now. They're like, they laugh at me. They're like, haha, you wanted it? Psych. 2 more years. Wait. And I'm like, what?
They just come over and start shanking you? Is that
they're like
take it. You like it. I know you do. And you're like, no. And then they take your money for the movie tickets too. Like, give me that.
Yeah. You want this movie? Oh, okay. Well, wait 4 more years. It might come out then.
It's like Clockwork Orange, man.
It's like 4 more years goes, and you're like, okay, it's finally coming out. They're like, oh yeah, it's coming out. You think so? Psych. Wait 3 more years. We're gonna switch directors again, and we're gonna switch the writing of the whole story. We're scratching that whole thing and doing it all over. Psych. Recast. We got a different actor this time. Psych. It's not even the same universe. This is just a one shot. What?
It's just a one shot. Man,
do I even want it anymore? I don't know.
I didn't realize what I opened. I'm sorry. So I just wanted to know, what do you want from DC? What do you want from them? Like, what is your expectation? Like,
I don't know, man.
Not even expectation. Like, what do you want from them to get in your good graces again?
I don't want a connected universe anymore. I don't. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know everyone.
Is it because they failed at it?
Yes.
Or is it because
it didn't work? It didn't work. And I think that's fine. Like, we don't need to be Marvel. We don't need to do what Marvel's doing. What Marvel's doing, something that's so unique and that shouldn't be so like, it should be like something that we marvel at 20 years from now and be like, wow, that could never have been done again because that was just such a unique time that it happened in. But DC, don't try to copy Marvel. Let's just not be Marvel. Let's just do a bunch of one-shot movies, spread all across the time, different universes, and we just get to see different people get to take up the mantle. That's fine with me. I'm fine with there being 20 different Batmans. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with, Robert Pattinson being Batman for some reason. Like, I'm okay with that. That's fine. Like, I don't want to connect anything anymore. Everything's its own thing.
So you're telling me though that like after 3 trilogies of different Batman, you would never want a crossover with Superman.
No, we can do a Superman Batman movie that has nothing to do with the Batman movie. Like it's just like its own thing. Superman Batman, this is just their own movie. There's no build up. So you don't want previous movies. It's just that movie.
So you don't want a connected narrative?
No, I don't.
Anymore.
We're not good at it. We're just not good at it. I haven't seen.
It's almost like you're basically saying like you're fine with a connected universe, but you don't want a connected narrative.
Yeah, I'm fine with it being fragmented. Like the Joker movie, I'm fine with that. Like that just being its own one-shot movie, great. Like whatever this Batman movie is going to be, if that's just a one-shot movie, great. Let's just give these directors their chance to shine the spotlight, take a character, take a storyline, and just play it out, and that's it. It's dead after that. There's no more coming back to that. No more end credit scenes or whatever. Just it's that it is what it is.
I mean, you might get that then, man, because it doesn't really seem like because the only movie that I know of that's going to be connected, like that for sure is going to have other people in it, is The Flash.
Yeah, well,
and that's gonna have Ben Affleck Batman in it.
Well, as always, I'm not gonna even say DC. HBO has always let me down, so I'm just expecting to be let down.
You mean Warner Brothers in general?
Brothers, yes, Warner Brothers in general. They just, I don't know why, but they're so force-handing. Like they're trying to do too much. And I think if the directors just were able to do what they want to do, like the Joker movie was, then I think it's going to be a much better movie. Like, it's just going to be a better movie. I don't care if it's connected or if there's a streamlined narrative or whatnot. It's going to be its own thing, and I like that. I want it to do that.
I think Space Jam 2 showed us where Warner Brothers' mind is at.
Yeah.
With the connected universe thing. I did not like the serververse. I wanted to, but I did not like, oh man, we have Batman villains with like Pennywise, and we have like, and I was like, ew,
and they were all cheering on a basketball game. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, we could go on a whole episode about how
Warner
terrible
Brothers
Space
is
Jam
just so cocky because they're like, we own everything. We're basically Google, and I was like, you're not that great.
Disney's confident like that, but they know where to stop.
Yeah. They don't rub it in your face. At least they're not like they don't just like shove your face into it.
They're like, oh my gosh, I have this. Like, we'll mix Mickey Mouse into the and they're gonna meet the characters of the Star Wars universe, and then Marvel's gonna come in. Like, they don't do that, you know.
No.
Like, the farthest they'll go is they'll be like, hey, we're gonna draw Mickey Mouse and Iron Man in an Iron Man armor, you know.
Or somebody in the universe will mention like, you know, Disney
or
a Disney property or something like that. We're not going to get like a full listing of all the shows that they own as they're trying to tell the story in the background. I mean,
this is what I want. I do want a connected universe and a connected narrative.
So wait a minute, do you want to reboot? We're going to reboot it?
I don't want to reboot.
Joss Whedon?
I want them to
bring it back.
I want them to pick something and stick with it.
Okay, yeah.
I want them to pick something. I don't care how horrible it is. I don't care if like Mr. Mixus-Pitalik is the bad guy at the end of the narrative. Like, I don't care. Just pick something and stick with the story, okay? And then end it. And then do a proper reboot after that. Like, just because the thing is, I don't want to throw away the good things. I like Gal Gadot Gadot as Wonder Woman. I like Ben Affleck as Batman a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And I like Henry Cavill as Superman. He's amazing as Superman.
Okay,
just give him some breadth to like actually act, you know,
and not just be somber all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like
that's his like somber look. He's just like always somber.
He's just mad. He's just grumpy Superman. Like I loved Zack Snyder's Justice League for that reason, because I felt like he did the characters justice, and I felt like we finally got to see different sides of Superman, and we got to see different sides. And Batman wasn't the joke 24/7. Like, I was so tired. I hated Joss Whedon's Justice League for that reason. I'm like, why is he cracking jokes all the time?
Yeah.
Also, I did not like the Flash in Joss Whedon's, but I actually liked the Flash a lot more in Zack Snyder's, and I liked Cyborg more in Zack Snyder's. So, like, I don't know.
I mean, it was basically a Cyborg movie. It turned out to be.
I mean, for the most part, he definitely started the movie off. You know, it was kind of like but he kind of needed that, I feel like, more than any of the other characters, because, to be honest, the average person who just watches comic book movies is going to be like, who the heck is Cyborg? Like, you know. So we can talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League another day, because I do have negative things about it too. But what that showed me is that the characters are not the problem. Like, the characters and the actors are not the issue. That's fair. You know, like, that's not the issue. The issue is the studio can't pick a certain storyline and stick with it. And that's what irritates me. So I even semi like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I think he's a little bit too much of a surfer dude for me, but like, I do like, he does play a good Aquaman, you know. So,
anyways, I would say this about Jason Momoa, and this is what I think about like just comic book movies in general. I've come to a place where I've come to terms that I'm not going to get the comic book versions of these characters anymore, and so I'm okay with a Jason Momoa playing as Aquaman, even though that has absolutely nothing to do with Aquaman. Mm-hmm. He looks nothing like him. He doesn't talk like him. He doesn't act like him. He's not. Iron Man's not that built. Like, I'm just sorry, he's not. Like, but I'm okay with that. And I'm also okay with the fact that I'm just not gonna get what I want, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. And I think my comic book friends, my friends on the who are the hardcore comic book guys, I think you just need to come over to our side and just be okay with not getting what you want. It's okay with that. That's okay. It's okay. It's not gonna. I mean, the movies aren't going to be as good as they could be because the comic book is.
I'm fine as long as they don't stray too far away. You know, when they make the character a completely different person, that kind of irritates me a little bit. Like Jason Momoa, at least there's versions of Aquaman that are kind of similar, but when you're like when you completely change, you know, like for instance, like
change gender or race or something like that.
You haven't seen you haven't seen Black Widow yet. Anyways, I can't talk about that. But they did something in that.
With that too. I've come to terms with that too because I just understand like this is just what they're gonna do. They're gonna do this regardless of how I feel about it. So I need to be okay with it. And I don't honestly care anymore about gender swaps or race swaps. I just want you to tell me a good story. Like tell me a good story from this character's perspective.
Change is bad. I don't know who's lying to you, but change is terrible. I hate change. No, it's fine. Anyways, I think you just admitted that it's going to happen whether you like it or not. So
yeah.
Because I think if Jonathan was in charge, you would make it comic book accurate.
Absolutely. If I was in charge, this would be like almost word for word from the comic book, unless we were going to do a different take on the character. And this was like, unless I told people ahead of time,
like
the
hey, Joker.
Yeah, like the Joker movie. Like I would be like, hey guys, this is not going to be your average Robin. Like this is not him. Like if you're thinking about the comic book, don't think about that.
That's the one thing I did like about the Joker is they specifically said beforehand, like, this is different. We're going to tell you up front. This is not like the Joker and Batman's not going to be in this. This is different. Yeah. So I did appreciate that. Anyways, all right. So I just wanted to know your expectations before we jumped into that. But it sounds
last thing I want to say about this. I can go all day on. We should probably do like an entire podcast about DC. But I just don't know where they're gonna go from here with this connected franchise, this connected universe they supposedly have. But what I've seen even in DC Comics is DC hasn't really done a good job with connecting their universe together, which is why they keep rebooting it. Because like it doesn't work. All the pieces don't work together. But they've had such great individual storylines. Like I was reading Nightfall, which is the story where Bane breaks Batman's back. It's a beautiful, well-told story. Or like when Flash comes back from the dead, another beautiful, well-told story. They have like these really good one stories that are like really shiny, like the Batman versus Superman. That was a really well-told story. If we can just get that on screen, then that's what will really make them the most money. Which is why I just like abandon a connected franchise. Let's just go to the one shots.
I think if we're being honest, like DC has better comics, I would say, comic stories than Marvel. Not saying Marvel doesn't have good ones. Marvel does have good stories. I mean, I'm wearing a Marvel t-shirt. I like that. But like Marvel does have good stories and they have great characters. DC though is usually better at doing more epic storylines. You know, things like that. And they're honestly, I would say to an extent, they're better at crossover events. But for some reason, they want to be Marvel and they try to change it up. And it's like, if they would stick with their source material, they would actually probably do better. Plus they have, as far as diversity goes, they have an extremely diverse, like, group of characters. There's so many different characters they could use.
But this is what I would say. I would say as far as the comics go, Marvel's universe is more connected because all the superheroes generally live in the same place. Like everyone's almost in New York.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. But with DC, their characters are so isolated in their specific cities. Flash is in Central City only. Superman's in Metropolis only. Batman's in Gotham only. Like you don't really get Superman coming to Gotham very often. But everyone's in New York, so you're going to run into Spider-Man's going to run into Iron Man. Iron Man's going to run to Iron Fist.
So what you're saying is like Marvel feels more connected.
On purpose, but it's on purpose though. Even Marvel the feels live there. Like it's like all everything's in centralized location because that's the way it was meant to be. But DC is intentionally like separated. Everyone's intentionally spread out everywhere else in their own specific locations on purpose. That's why
it's actually better. It's better for answering the question of like, where's the superhero at? It's like, well, they don't all live in New York. You know, they're in different places. So,
but also their specific locations is telling of their character growth. It's like a reflection of how they grow as a character. Metropolis is a big city. It's nice, bright, shiny. You know, the villains.
The city is a reflection of themselves.
Yeah, exactly. In Gotham, dirty, gritty Batman. Like you get that. Central City is kind of pop are like, even if you watch the Flash show, which is I'm not gonna say it's like super accurate, but it's very telling between, you know, watching what was it, Starling City with Arrow, how it's gritty and dirty, and then watching Central City with Barry when it's pop color, you know, everyone's joking.
It's much more like hopeful.
Yeah, but that's all intentional with the art. I think with the artists when they were designing these characters, and that's why I think DC should just abandon the connected universe and stick with the storylines that these comic books tell us. And if you want to take a different approach of it on that, that's fine. I'm fine with that. But just like focus more on the characters and the stories instead of trying to build this grandiose thing.
I think honestly, where DC would to bring up your point, and we can't go on this all day because it wasn't even on the list, but I think to bring up your point, I think where DC would shine is if they focused on their locations more.
Yeah.
So like if they were like, you know, Flash is in Central City. Well, we're going to focus on what Central City's like.
Yeah, the Central City vibe.
You know, instead of, because like Marvel doesn't really do that. The only people that I've seen Marvel do that, I mean, they're starting to do that a little bit more.
Yeah.
The only thing that I've seen Marvel do that with is really Thor. Like they focused on Asgard a little bit, and then they kind of like went away with it, which I thought was annoying. But
Luke Cage too.
Luke Cage a little bit.
A lot of Harlem.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, we did get a lot of Harlem in that. And then the same thing with I would say the same thing with Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi. They really focused on
Sean.
Sorry, Sean. That I forgot about that. They really focused on, you know, the world that he ends up going into, where his mom is from. So they focused on that, but I would say as a whole, you know, Iron Man, they don't focus where he's from. Like I think hardly anybody who watches the Marvel movies could be like, oh yeah, Iron Man's hometown is this, you know, like it's like I really don't think they could. And then the same thing, it's the same thing with you know, Black Widow or Hawkeye, or, you know, they don't really focus on where that person's from. Whereas I think DC could build a better universe if they focused on what locations make up their universe a little bit more. So anyways, I can see that.
I'm not closed off to an open universe or a shared universe. I'm not closed off to that. I'm just saying I've seen it go so poorly so far, and it looks in the future like it's only going to get worse. So let's just stop it. Let's just abandon it, and let's give me Black Adam Rock. Let's do that, and let's just make that its own thing, its own movie. That's just a one shot. It's not connected to anything else.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I agree. I mean it's kind of like either do it good and commit to a plan, or don't do it at all.
Don't do it at all. Yeah.
Which is fine, because I think you're giving DC a bad rap because of it. You know, they're getting a bad look. Anyways, so we're gonna move on to our next. We're gonna move away from trailers for a while, and we're gonna get on to our next. Sorry, guys, I'm pulling up my list here. We're going to pull on to our next thing, which is we're going to talk about Shang-Chi. So we both saw Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Do I have to say it like that now? Am I required to say Shang-Chi?
Nah, I'm just saying it because I'm annoying. I try to be annoyingly accurate. So I'm like, no, that's not how you say it. So because I was saying Shang-Chi like all the way up until it came out, and then people were like Shang-Chi, and I was like, what? Like I thought it was Shang. Like that's fine.
What an American.
So, I know, it's fine. But anyways, we saw that movie. Jonathan, when did you see it?
I saw it last Saturday, the most recent Saturday that just passed.
Oh, okay, cool. So you saw it within a week of its release.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Which is weird. Can I just say, first of all, before we get into Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
That was my first time going back to the movies since the pandemic. And it was very weird. It felt very weird, but it felt very awesome. So I like movie theaters again.
That's awesome. Don't you? I missed them. I missed them. When I walked back in, I was like, oh, I missed this. Like,
yeah. There are certain movies where it kind of feels like you're watching it with everyone, you know, and it feels like, you know, like we're all in this together. We're all watching this, and like when you start laughing and everyone's laughing with you, it's like, we're together, you know.
For sure, definitely. Yeah, no, I loved it. I loved going back to the movie theaters, honestly. We didn't even buy popcorn or anything when we went this last time. We just like went and sat, and I was like, man, this is so great. I just missed watching the movie. My first movie back, I think, was Was it? Well, that's not entirely true. Technically, my first movie back was Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we saw it around Christmas.
I'm sorry.
Which is great. So, I mean, we loved it. We loved it. We had a lot of fun going and seeing it. But technically, I'd say since then, my first movie was like Raya and the Last Dragon, which was that Disney movie,
Yeah.
which also has Aquafina in it, and it wasn't bad. But this is like, then we saw Black Widow, and then we saw Shang-Chi. So we've seen a few movies since then, but we definitely haven't gone as much as we used to. We used to go back like, I mean, when my wife and I were dating, we'd go probably like two or three times a month. It felt like sometimes. Like we just loved going to the movies. It was fun. So anyways, we'll go ahead and get started. So by the way, this is going to be a spoiler review, obviously. I get tired of saying that. Like, don't watch this. Don't watch it.
If you haven't seen it, yeah.
Don't even chance it. Like I kind of stopped, because I don't want to chance it. So, anyways, I saw the movie not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. So the weekend that came out, my wife and I saw it. We absolutely loved it. Both of us really enjoyed it. I would say initial thoughts is it's a very solid movie, a very good Marvel superhero movie. Honestly, it's just a good movie in general. I really enjoyed it. Probably not in my top 5, maybe top 10. I might put it in my top 10 Marvel movies. Okay. I really enjoyed it. And to be honest, the only thing that made it not as good for me was the last third of the movie. I would say the first 2/3 of the movie, I was all about this. Like, I thought it was great. I loved it. And then the pacing got a little bit slower. And then in the third act, I'll go into it in a little bit, but those are my initial thoughts. Jonathan, what did you think? What was your first reaction?
My first reaction, I thought it was a good movie. I did enjoy it. It felt a little long to me while I was watching. I just kind of felt like I was sitting there for a while. So maybe I just wasn't really connecting with the character or the story. But I really enjoyed all the action scenes. Every action scene I really, really enjoyed. I kind of wish we got some more simple stuff instead of like the kind of outrageous Marvel. Like fighting on a bus and it's breaking apart, that kind of thing. It's like I like that, but like I would love to have seen like, that and I know a lot of people don't like Iron Fist. I liked Iron Fist, okay? I'm a rebel like that. But did you see season 2? Was it season 2?
Yeah, I love season 2. Season 2 is great.
When him and Davos are fighting and they're like linked together, and it's just them like going back and forth like that. That to me was one of my favorite scenes in the entire show. And I wish there were more scenes like that where it's just them fighting, not like, oh, we're falling off the side of a building, oh no, and trying to fight as well. Like that's fun, but like I was hoping for just more like strict like martial arts. Let's just watch them fight kind of deal. But it was cool. It was cool. I did really enjoy the movie. Liked all the special effects. Everything looked very good visually. But yeah, I liked it. Yeah. I would say I don't think it's in my top 10 though. It might be like 9 or 10.
I think that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking maybe like lower top 10.
Yeah.
The thing is, the reason it's so hard to place it is because I was actually listening to a podcast where they rank Marvel movies, and they're like what's sad is like if you put a movie as number 12, people think, oh, you think that movie sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, there's just so many Marvel movies, man.
Yeah,
like there's so many Marvel movies. Like, and to be honest, I would say most of them, if not all of them, are really good.
Yeah.
They're really solid movies you would probably watch again. It's hard to not like, it's hard to rank them because, you'll get down into like in the early teens, like 11, 12, 13. It's like, no, they're good. I can't put it up there in my top 10.
Yeah.
So, by the way, Jordan's comment on here. If you guys are on Facebook, feel free to keep talking in the comments. I loved his comment that's on here. So,
what did he say?
He said, "Here, I'll just pull it up for you." He said you should theme song that. That would have been. We should take the music from Shang-Chi in that bus scene and just add that in there. So let's start from the beginning real fast. The bus scene is my favorite scene. I would say out of all the fights.
Okay.
I loved it. I was like, I loved the music in the back. I also loved. I will say this. This was my thought when I was watching it. I was like, this is what Iron Fist should have been. That's literally what I thought. Even the ending, bro, with the dragon. I was like, I literally thought of Xiao Lao. Like I thought of Xiao Lao and everything.
Yeah, I did too.
And the city they go to, I was like, this is obviously very similar to Iron Fist. Kunlun, yeah. I was like, this is what it should have been. Like honestly, and I was thinking I would be so surprised if they didn't tie Iron Fist to this.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna get an Iron Fist soon-ish. I could see.
Reboot it.
I think they'll probably reboot it. Unfortunately, I mean, you and me are both like, we don't care if it's bad, just take it and throw it in there. Like that's how I feel about it too. Just own.
I just think that the writers of Iron Fist just got too cute, right? Yeah. Like they had such success. I'm not sure if it's the same writers or not, but the company who did these series of they had such success with Daredevil, and then Jessica Jones came out, and that was really good, and then Luke Cage came out, and the first part of Luke Cage was really, really good. And so they just
actually like the second.
You can do no wrong.
Yeah,
you can do no wrong.
I think that they're underrated because people didn't watch them that much.
Yeah.
I think like Luke Cage season 2 to me was better than the first season, but I liked.
Oh, wow,
both.
Really?
Yeah, I loved Bushmaster.
Man,
I loved Bushmaster. I also I like Shades a lot, and I like Mahershala Ali in the first season was so good.
I don't think I can put anyone over him. I liked him so much in the first.
But he died so quick.
I know.
I was like, what? Anyways, I need to go back and rewatch.
Sorry, spoilers for Luke Cage as well. Everything spoiled. Okay.
Who hasn't seen that by now, though? You know what I mean? Like, if you're, I don't know. Anyways,
well, you got it.
So, anyways, back to Shang-Chi, because we keep wanting to. It's just so close. The thing about Shang-Chi that I loved about the movie, the first 2/3, is how grounded he was. Again, like I talked about earlier, I just missed all the gritty fighting. Yeah, his fighting was so clean too. Yeah, that's why I say that's what I wanted out of Iron Fist. The first season of Iron Fist, I think that's really what did the show terrible. I don't know too many people who didn't like the first season who watched the second season. Yeah. The second season was a lot better. Honestly, the second season made me want a third season. But anyways, the reason I say that is because Shang-Chi, when you watch him fight in the first 2/3 half of the movie, like he just feels very grounded. You see him come out, and he's a valet. Which I thought was great. I saw him getting all
that
dressed
whole introduction scene was pretty cool. I'll admit that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I loved it. I called it too when I saw it. I was like, oh snap, they're gonna act like he's driving this car, but he's actually the valet. I bet. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is. By the way, I just got to say they gave him a great sense of style. I love that he was wearing the Jordans the whole time. Like I love that. But yeah, I thought it was great. I also loved Awkwafina.
Okay.
I loved her character, bro.
Okay.
And if anybody watched the last episode of this show,
I was watching the whole time I was watching the movie. I was thinking, I kept hearing your voice in my head. She's so annoying.
well, they gave her. I think it's just maybe the roles I've seen her in the past.
Yeah.
I forgot she was in Crazy Rich Asians, and I didn't mind her too much in that movie. But she was okay for me. So she did a great job in this Marvel movie. I thought she was really funny. I also liked that they gave her a little bit of a story arc. She wasn't just there for comedic effect, and I think that would have made me not like her. If they would have just thrown her in there for like laughs, I would have been like,
the lols.
I'm super annoyed. Also, talking about laughter, I was so thankful that this wasn't just a big Marvel joke again. I hate movies that are just filled with Marvel jokes, and I'm like, can we not have a serious moment? Yeah. And this was not like that at all. Yeah. And they added humor when necessary, but that was it. And I was very happy about that. But I loved all the fight scenes. I mean, you and I both are very much into like martial art fight scenes. Like we want to see them do well. Like that's why we both like Daredevil so much, because we like to see.
I have karate.
Yeah, I did not. I just like watching it. you know, on.
I can't
on
fight,
scene,
guys.
so.
Don't come find me. I can't fight. I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah. Anyways, but I loved the fight scenes in it a lot. I liked the appearances by Wong. I thought that was pretty cool. Wong was great in the movie.
Who was he fighting? That's my question.
That's the Abomination.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. But
They changed his look. They changed his look.
They did change
They made him more comic book accurate. It's really all they did. Because he has those weird like.
Why even do that? Why even do that? We're not doing that. We're not doing comic book accuracy. Let's just not. Don't even. Okay, whatever. Sorry, I'm getting on tangent here. Tangent. Go ahead.
You know what the problem is when the Incredible Hulk came out, everybody said no, the Abomination is not comic book accurate, and they were like, "Ooh, everybody hated this movie," and they were like, "You know what? We'll bring him back later, but he's changed." And it's like people like you are like, "Listen, I don't care anymore. Like it's already done." So that's what happened. But I think that it's an easy excuse though, right? Like the gamma radiation mutation evolved over time.
Yeah,
and that's
fair.
you know that's why he looks like that.
I mean, where has he been this whole time was the question I had. But
so I watched an interview with Simu Liu, which is the guy who plays Shang-Chi, and then also the director. And they asked the director about that, and he said we'll get information on that fairly soon.
Okay.
So they are going to address it. It's not like they're just going to leave it out there.
Maybe it's going to be in the Moon Knight series.
That would be
or the movie. Are we getting a movie or a series?
We're getting a series. It's a series. There's also a She-Hulk show coming out. So I know I'm excited for that. So they're thinking he might be in there.
Okay.
The Raft Prison. That is. I see that comment. Yeah. The Raft Prison could definitely be a possibility. That I feel like that's the easiest place to throw it. You know,
yeah,
but
I'm kind of. This is what I'm wondering. Do we have to keep explaining where everyone has been whenever a new person comes in? Because like, there's so many more characters that have to come into this. Like the Fantastic Four have to come back.
To be honest,
X-Men.
I mean, well, the thing is, people are going to want to know. That's a rational.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to want to know, but my question is like, is it important to the story to know like, why weren't you here when such and such came? It's like okay. Are we gonna have to like? Is there gonna? It's kind of to me. It kind of feels like it's like the Uncle Ben thing, you know. It's like every time Spider-Man comes up, we have to have Uncle Ben. It's like, and I know I just offended a second ago.
You just defended Spider-Man.
So I'm a huge hypocrite, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, I don't necessarily know that I want you to explain to me every time where they've been, because
what would you prefer if they didn't do that? You just want them to pop up out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, we're here!" Like,
because in the comic book, that's kind of how it happens. Like,
yeah, but
Iron
in
Man
the
faces he faces world-ending events or New York-ending events all the time, and you never see Daredevil come, you never see Iron Man come. Like, it just happens. It's just the way things work.
Well, I don't think it's that necessarily. It's the introduction to the entire universe, not necessarily the movie.
Okay.
So, because obviously Daredevil, right? If he just popped into a Spider-Man comic and was like, "I helped you," and you had no idea who Daredevil was, like we'd never seen him in the Marvel universe. Like you have to know where the character came from. So like the Eternals, that'll be interesting because they're coming out of nowhere, and the whole point is like, where were they if they're so strong? When it comes to like Fantastic Four and people, like just give me an origin story. I'm fine with that. Like,
so you're saying you're okay with them just coming after post Thanos? The post Thanos, we didn't have powers yet, and now we have powers.
I'm fine with that excuse.
Okay, that's fine with me. That's fine with me too. That's fine with me too. I just don't. I think trying to give everyone an elaborate backstory about like why weren't you here when Thanos was here is gonna it's gonna devalue what the story is actually about. I think at least it's gonna take away in my eyes, for me at least.
So you're specifically talking about just comic book, like for instance, an Ant-Man when the Falcon is there. Falcon shows up and it's kind of like, well, why, you don't have to explain where Falcon's at because he was at the compound, the Avengers compound. So yeah, he's just there, and that's fine. I don't think you have to explain it every time you get a cameo. But for people like, for the Abomination, we have not seen him in like an extremely long time. But I mean, to be honest, my wife and I just watched the first Thor recently. The most amazing Marvel movie they've ever made. I mean, it's great. You should watch it. No, I'm a Thor. I'm a big Thor fan for no reason. I just loved the first Thor movie. So, anyways, much better than Ragnarok. That's a hot take. That's a hot take. But anyways, if you watch that, there's a Marvel one shot with it where they talk specifically about, it's a little skit, just like All Hail the King. They made one for Thor. On Thor, they talk about, it's called The Enforcer, I think, is what the name of it is. And basically, they talk about Robert Downey Jr.'s appearance in The Incredible Hulk and the backstory for that. And so they end up talking about where the Abomination is. They took the Abomination, they put him in a prison cell, essentially. And I think the raft may be like a rash. That might just be what they do with it. But obviously we'd want to know like where he broke out and everything like that. So, we'll see. We'll see.
I don't know. To me, it sounded like the raft was like a new concept when Iron Man introduced it, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe I just assumed that because I hadn't seen it before.
They that Civil War again. That's why it's not like in my. That's why it's not in my top 5, because there were a lot of like little narrative things like that they never really mentioned. Like they're like, oh, we're gonna take him to the raft, which is, and honestly, if you're a casual moviegoer, you're gonna be like, I don't even know what the raft is. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
But anyways, but I thought there was something I had to say about Shang-Chi that I forgot. I loved how they did his backstory. They did his origin story so well. It felt fresh, like to me, because they didn't. It was all kind of like a flashback type thing, and I liked that a lot. And you got to know a little bit more. It also kept the pacing pretty good. The only part where the pacing slowed down is because we had so much action at the beginning that in that third part it started to slow. But there's one thing we got to talk about, and that's Trevor Slattery.
Oh my gosh!
Weren't you what? Man, I thought you said you wanted Trevor Slattery.
I did. No, I was happy
in the first
episode.
Movie.
I was happy he was in the movie. Listen, I was happy he's in the movie.
Okay,
but I wanted him in a different role, and I was disappointed because I didn't get what I wanted. But I guess I was okay with the way they used him. I wish it was different. Like he kind of became a joke, and his villain performance was so good. It was like one of my top 5 villain performances in the MCU. I mean, not not counting the fact that they completely dumped on him and he became an actor or whatever. But his voice acting, even in All Hail the King, this is also to my wife, like hearing him do it again, I was just like, wow, that sounds to me like a villain. And I was hoping like in this movie, he was going to get to be reclaiming the Mandarin title again and like being the Mandarin for the face of the 10 Rings. But once again, he was just like a side character, and he goes to the place and lives there now. And it's like, okay, well, I guess that whole storyline is dead now. Like they officially killed it for us.
So I agree on a certain part. There's a part that I think you'll agree with me on, but I was totally fine with them leaving him in there as like a joke. I'm just glad we got him in there because I personally think it would have been weird for his character to all of a sudden be like, I'm angry and I want to take this back, because in Iron Man 3 they essentially talk about how all he is an actor, and that's kind of all he wants to be. Yeah. So when I saw him in that, I was fine with it. I was like, that's cool. They're embracing that he's a joke. And they should just leave him as that. But where I think I agree with you is I hated that we're not getting a Mandarin at all.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like I like, because even I was listening to another podcast. They were talking about how the Mandarin in the comics is almost like the Joker to Iron Man.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
he is like a huge villain, and a lot of people were like, we should have left. They should have just kept the Mandarin in there, whether that was going to be Ben Kingsley or whether that was going to be, they ended up killing Shang-Chi's dad at the end, which I was a little upset about. He also, Marvel. I know, I was hoping they wouldn't do that, but I had a feeling they would. The other thing is he made fun of the Mandarin name, which I think is probably going to ruffle a lot of feathers for fans. Like, cause they were like, what the heck? Like, yeah, you didn't like that.
I was like, man, like why? like it's one thing to say like we're not getting it, but it's a whole different thing to like to just like throw it in our face and laugh at us because we wanted it. Like it's like why do that to us?
It's like, why would you think you'd get that, John? Why would you think you'd get that? I don't know. I don't even understand. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought I was kind of upset about that because I wanted to see the Mandarin. I really wanted to see an actual Mandarin telling in the future. Like I wanted to see a legit Mandarin. And I don't think we're going to get that now, or it might be his daughter, which I'm kind of over that. I'll be honest. So we talked about a lot of positive things about the movie. We can get into the negative too, but as far as the character, I can't wait to see him in future Marvel movies. I can't wait to see him in the Avengers. Like I'm super excited to see more of him. I want to see him fight Hawkeye. I wish Chadwick Boseman was alive because I would have loved to have seen him fight Black Panther.
Yeah.
So there's so many things I can't wait to see what they do with him. I also want to see him interact with like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Bucky. I really want to see that. So I'm super excited for all that to come out and we'll see how that goes. But as far as that goes, I thought the movie, the origin story was really great. Everything like that. What did you think what was your take on the 10 Rings itself?
So that was probably my biggest gripe with the movie. I didn't feel like we had a true villain. I mean, like I sympathized so much with his dad that I didn't even see him as the villain at the end of the movie. I was just like, I feel bad for you. Like I understand. And this is what I was telling my wife when we were discussing after the movie was over. I was like, I didn't feel like he was a villain. Like I felt so bad for him because like if you had died and I heard your voice and I know what your voice sounds like, and I hadn't seen you in like 20 years, I'd be so convinced.
Yeah.
And I would probably move heaven and earth to try to get you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
sure.
I felt so bad for him that I couldn't see him as a villain anymore. And so their fight to me just didn't make a lot of sense. But I mean, like obviously in the context of the story, it made sense. But like, I was just like y'all shouldn't fight. Like you should literally just explain to him, like try to explain to him. But obviously the rings were driving him mad or whatever. We still don't know about that. But I don't know. That was probably my biggest gripe with the movie. Was like I wanted the Mandarin villain. Like I wanted that guy who was like, I'll kill anybody who gets in my way. I don't care. Like I'm ruthlessly evil, and that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, I think one reason you feel that too is because they're playing off of Chinese and Eastern mythology a lot, or storytelling where it's yin and yang. So or yin and yang. So you're seeing there's like when they talk about Shang-Chi where she's like you need to embrace your good and bad parts of yourself, and so you picture the yin yang and you see like the white and there's a little bit of dark there, and then it's the same thing with his dad. His dad is the villain, but ultimately there's a storyline that you reminisce with, which I think you probably get that. And you're not saying that's like bad or anything. It's just kind of like I get why you would prefer something that's just like good and evil sometimes.
Yeah, well, see, and this is my thing. I love it when a story is like I don't need to sympathize with your villain, but I do want to understand him, what his motives are. Like I don't want him just to be evil for the sake of being evil because we need a villain to punch or whatever. But I want to understand his motivations and what drives him to do what he does, and present it to me in a way that makes realistic sense. Like a person would actually go this far to do this thing. But with the Mandarin or the King of the 10 Rings, I don't know what was his official title at that point. I don't know.
He didn't really have one. He was just like the Master of the 10 Rings. Yeah,
whatever his dad. I was just so sympathetic that I was like, you're not even to blame for what's happening. Like this is strictly just grief talking. You're really going through grief and you haven't processed this well. Yeah. So I don't know. It felt like we should be in therapy more than we should be duking it out in front of a demon lord or whatever.
For sure. I mean, I think what would have made more sense, would have made it more believable, is because he says that he became a villain again, but you don't really get that feeling because he hasn't tried to take anything over. Yeah. Like he's been quiet for so long, all the way through Endgame, and now he's kind of like, and I get his motivation. He's been trying to find an entrance into that place because his wife has been talking to him for years at this point. And I totally get that. But I think what I get out of it is just that, maybe he would have been more of a villain if we would have seen him, take over all of a sudden. So, but anyways, but I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the stuff I didn't really like about it. And I think that, sorry guys, if you're seeing my fingers, I think I can go ahead and talk about that. Jonathan's got to take a little bit of a phone call real fast, but he'll be back on in a second, guys. So some of the stuff I wasn't really a fan of with it, honestly, I actually did not enjoy the dragon part at the end. I liked the dragon itself. The dragon was epic. That's the scene was very well done CGI wise. But I think the whole epicness of the end, I would have preferred a more grounded take. And the reason for that is because the first 2/3 of the film, you see the character very much so like he has a grounded take in reality. He's very, he's always he's in these low level battles. He goes to that ring and he fights in the underground ring. And I really enjoyed that. And then all of a sudden at the end, we're getting this super mystical place that is, then they have these crazy, strange creatures and they have like all these, it felt the tone really shifted when that happened. So I wasn't really as much of a fan of that. And I kind of wish there would have been more, I don't know. I wish the villain would have been more grounded. That would have been great in a sequel. I would have loved seeing more of that in a sequel. But for this specific movie, I felt like I would have preferred just a fight between him and his dad. That's probably where I don't like the ending as much. Still, with the ending the way it is, it's still a great movie. It's still really enjoyable. I would totally recommend anybody seeing it. I also did not like his sister that much. I saw a lot of people saying like they loved his sister and Shang-Chi's sister, and I can't even remember her name. And the reason I can't remember her name is because I did not find her that interesting in the movie. I felt like she popped in and out a lot, and she didn't seem a very good, strong part of the team. And it was, to be honest, from when I saw her, I instantly thought, oh, well, what's going to happen is she's going to take over the 10 rings. Like that was pretty obvious to me from the beginning. And then when I saw the end credit scene, she's taking over the 10 rings and I was like, cool. I kind of saw this coming. So that part was a bit uninteresting to me, I guess. So I wasn't really a fan of that. And then I would say those are really my only gripes about it. I liked the 10 rings itself. I thought the 10 rings were pretty interesting. They're different than what's in the comics. So in the comics, what you end up having is essentially you have it's similar to the Infinity Stones, where essentially he has 10 rings on all of his fingers. And essentially what they do is they all have a different power set. So each individual ring has a different unique ability. I can see why they probably didn't go with that for a movie. That's going to be kind of difficult as far as the CGI thing goes, especially if he has 10 different power sets and they're all different. They're also a little bit too similar to the Infinity Stones. So if you think about it in that sense, they just did the Infinity Stones. If they had something that was that powerful where there's 10 different abilities, that would be probably a little bit much. So I think that's kind of where I don't know. That I was okay with that. I think the rings should have been a little bit more flashy, but I did think they were pretty cool. I liked all the things that he could do with them. So to me, it made sense that way. So I was totally fine with that. But those are some of my gripes probably about the movie. But overall, I mean, I'd probably give it a solid 7.5 or maybe 8 out of 10. The characters are great. I mean, if you watch the movie, you're going to love the characters. that was probably one of my favorite things about the movie was the characters themselves. So if you watch the movie, you're probably gonna like that. I'm also super excited for a sequel, and everything like that. So I think it's gonna be great. But Jonathan, you back on with us?
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Is it
guys.
8 out of 10?
I would give it a 7.5 to 8 out of 10.
7.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's pretty. It's hard to give any Marvel movie under a 7. There's
That's
a couple.
true.
There's a couple in there that are, but
And that's what I was thinking about earlier when you said that it's really hard to find a bad one. Yeah, they're mostly like if they're not average, they're above average. Most of the movies.
Yeah. Even movies like Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah.
They are, for a Marvel movie, like it's probably not. It's
And
not
that's how you have to
gonna be a
quantify.
7.
You have to quantify it as for a Marvel movie, it's not as good as the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But as a movie itself, it's pretty solid. I mean, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It was great. So, Shang-Chi, I think is definitely better than Thor: The Dark. Like, if you were like, do you want to watch Shang-Chi or Thor: The Dark World? I would totally watch Shang-Chi, like easily.
Wow.
So, I thought it was much better than some of the bad ones, and so it was definitely better than Black Widow. Loved it compared to Black Widow. It was way better. So I don't know, but I'd say, especially for an origin, it's probably one of the better origin movies that I've seen. So, but I wanted to know your gripes real fast. I'm gonna let you.
The main villain was probably the only thing was that I wanted the villain, and then the demons coming at the end. I thought was like kind of ham-fisted in at the end. Because we didn't really.
Real quick, I'm gonna add some more light. I'm just coming right back, but go ahead, keep talking.
Okay, yeah, we didn't really know why, or we didn't really know much about them until the third act. It felt like so. It kind of felt like they kind of got shoved in there to take the place of the villain. I feel like the directors even realized that the way the actor who was his Shang-Chi's dad acted and the script he was given came across very sympathetic, and he didn't really seem like a villain. So I think they kind of even realized we need something in here that's going to kind of amp the pressure to really make this thing necessary. So I also I don't know. I was kind of hoping the rings did more than just like what he showed. But then there was the end credit scene, so maybe there is going to be some more that they're going to add to what the rings do and stuff like that, or what he's able to do with the rings.
Definitely. What did you think about the rings compared to the comics? Like, because I did hear this and I agreed with it. Because we just had the Infinity Stones, doing the rings comic book accurate would have been kind of difficult. Because we kind of saw something similar to that in the Infinity Stones, where each of the stones can do something different. They're also, all powerful. The rings are very much like that in the comics. You get 10 different abilities, 10 different things they can do. And I think there's even like a reality. One of them, it does control reality as well. So it, as far as for a movie, that might be hard to translate.
Yeah.
So, I was okay with the way they did the 10 rings. I do wish they would have done more though.
Yeah. But I mean, and this is the thing is they let themselves an open door for more because they didn't explain what the rings actually like the full max capacity of what the rings could do. But you got to think, the guy was living for centuries, if not thousands of years. So he would have, kind of studied the rings himself to know their full extent. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I was fine with what they did with them, but I was hoping for a little bit more and more details of specific what the rings are and what they do and where they came from, all that kind of stuff. But I guess that's going to be a follow-up movie maybe, or in a different Marvel movie or something like that.
What did you think of, because I talked about this while you were gone just a second. What did you think of the ending of the movie as far as like the final act where they go into that mystical place and they, there's a dragon and everything. Yeah. Did you think that was too over the top?
I mean, there wasn't any, usually when there's a big villain, I get kind of anxious for the characters themselves. Like I know, ultimately good wins in these movies typically. And so I was generally like, okay, in most movies, I'm like, ooh, I think they're going to win, but I'm not sure how. Like when I was watching Ultron, I was very anxious for the characters because I was like, yeah, there's a huge horde of enemies and they're usually going to beat them, but it seemed like someone's going to have to pay the price in order for them to win this. And I was anxious for who's going to be. But as soon as I saw the dragon, I was like, they're not going to lose this fight. This is over. Like, I don't know why they're even a second villain here. I think the dad alone would have been fine if they played up the animosity and the his actual like true the evil that was him before he met his mother. Like if they got back to that, that would have been a great villain to have.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. I was disappointed with their choice of. I thought that could have been a whole separate movie, allowing the demon to come out. That could have been a whole different movie. But
that's basically what I said.
Okay.
I thought that would have been better for a sequel.
Yeah.
I thought the whole, and the other thing too is you see his dad and Shang-Chi are both very grounded characters. You know, as far as like, they're not up in Asgard, they're not in Eternal, they're both just humans.
Yeah.
But one has found something very similar to Iron Man in the sense of, you know, think about it this way, where instead of the Iron Man suit, it's the 10 rings. But they're both humans. All they have is one person has this very mystical object that is causing the power, and that's allowed him to rule for such a long time. So for me, when I saw these two grounded characters, I saw Shang-Chi, who you're seeing him fight regular people for the most part, the first 2/3 of the movie. And then you see his dad, who has conquered human civilization for so long. And then all of a sudden they're in this mystical place where they're fighting dragons and they're fighting. It was very like, that's kind of
it's very like it switched to 100 very fast. Yeah.
I would have much rather seen him full on fight his dad.
Yeah.
And that be the ending scene.
And it'd be like a dirty, gritty kind of fight. Like
lots of emotion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that would have been so beautiful. That'd have been like such if Shang-Chi kills him or his dad chooses to die for some reason, that would have been an even more beautiful way to demonstrate the kind of yin-yang relationship that they had with each other.
Yeah. Kind of seeing it from two different sides.
Yeah. Like even in death, like I don't agree with you. And it's like, wow, that's a depth in a character. But I don't know. I was really hoping for a strong villain for this one. I don't know. I think that's the main thing I keep getting hung up on is the villain. Oh, also, I did not like the way they used his sister. I was really hoping, and it was funny. My wife kept saying this. I was really hoping for more girl power in the movie, which is weird because I really don't care about that. But I was hoping like they were going to take her and really elevate her in the movie and make her like this super cool like chick who doesn't care about anything. But like she just didn't get enough lines in the movie to like matter to me.
I 100% agree. They could have made a cool girl character out of her.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's barely in the movie. I don't care about her.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. And honestly, when I saw her, my first thought was, oh, she's going to be in here and she's going to take over. Like when her dad dies. That was my first thought. And that's what ended up happening at the end of the movie. You know, she's taking over the 10 rings.
Yeah.
So for me, that was just really predictable, and it made me care less about the character.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like, they did. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I just felt like that's all she was in there for.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they did a good job with like showing the animosity between him and her. Like, oh, you left me and you never came back. That was great, but then they didn't really build it up for her and her dad. Like, it kind of just fell apart there, and it was kind of weird that she learned martial arts better than other people without having anyone around to teach her. But she just watched it and got really good at it. I thought that was kind of weird. But I'm okay with her taking over. I just wish they would have used her better in the movie, given her more lines to kind of really express what she believed and why she thought she should take over instead of disbanding.
My wife really liked her rope darts. I thought her rope darts were legit too, though. I was like, that's awesome. I wanted to see why I should care about her more.
Yeah.
Was all. But I mean, I would say overall, I would totally watch this movie again in theaters. I'd probably enjoy it if I watched it again. The choreography was great. But I think for the first time around, he should have been, I think we both agree, should have been more gritty and more, I don't know, a little more focused on things that are here on Earth and not like the mystical side of it.
Yeah.
That would have been.
I mean, I think that's so entrenched in Shang-Chi's background. So I understand why they went to it, but I wish they kind of would have just taken the Iron Fist route and like, okay, we'll address that stuff later. But right now, I just want to focus on his dad versus him. There's this huge conflict. They disagree, and they're going to fight it out. That's what the whole movie's going to be about, and not like a mystical island where his mom may be and yada yada.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and they could have kept a lot of the same beats of the movie.
Yeah.
They just changed the ending a little bit. And that's pretty much it. But I mean, that still didn't ruin the movie for me. I still thought the movie was great. I mean, I thought the ending, even though I wasn't like a huge fan of the ending, I thought it was great. Okay, then the last thing we'll talk about real fast was the end credit scene. What did you think of the end credit scene?
Oh, snap. I was excited because obviously I hadn't seen an end credit scene in years, it feels like. But I was excited for it, and I was interested at least in what Wong had to say, but we got no real information. We just got what we learned was no one knows anything about the rings. And that later on we're gonna have to figure out something about the rings. And then was that the only one, or was that the other one was his sister, right?
There was some background stuff going on. There was the one with his sister where she's taking over the 10 rings.
Yeah.
Which we don't really know what that entails, if she's gonna be a villain or if she's gonna be a good person.
It's gonna be all women. We know that for sure.
No, it's not. There was men.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes, sorry. Yes. The zoom out was.
At first, we were like, "Oh, it's all women," like, and I was like, "That's not really surprising for me." But yeah, then they zoomed out, and it was just men. It was
some men. Okay.
Yeah. There was groups of men and women. But there was a couple background things in the first one. Did you notice that Bruce Banner was not the Hulk?
Yeah, and he had a sling.
Still, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, that's what that was from. I was like,
yeah.
I feel like he had a sling for a reason. What was that? And then I remember now he snapped and then it fried his arm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the dude who was sitting in front of me in the theater, the first thing he said was, he's like, "Why the heck is he still in a sling?" Like he got really mad in front of me. I thought it was so funny. Why do you think he's still in a sling? Do you think that maybe the snap caused like the gamma radiation to like leave his body?
I don't know.
And
so
he like
don't
slowly...
know the time period though, right?
We don't know.
We don't know how far it was from that to this.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, we don't know how soon Shang-Chi is after Endgame.
Yeah. Also, we don't know like if it's better than it looks, because when he snapped, it looked fried. Like it looked like degeneration everywhere.
Yeah.
So it could look better. It's just like he's not able to like full arm motion yet.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people who are upset about that, mainly because they want to know. They're like, well, the Hulk in the comics, he would be healed by now, and and even in the MCU, he has super healing. But it's like, why isn't he healed from that yet? And I think it's probably a deeper reason than the Hulk is just, our Hulk is just weaker. I don't think that's probably what it is, because he wasn't Professor Hulk, and you would think that he would want to stay in that form.
Yeah. I hope we go back to Savage Hulk. That'd be great, but I doubt it.
I could see that coming. To be honest, I could see that happening.
I don't know. I feel like Marvel was trying so hard to get away from it because they didn't like that Hulk kills people. Because he's a savage. They're like, let's get away with that as fast as possible. But
I could see if Abomination is going to be in the universe, I could see him bringing out Savage Hulk.
That'd be great. Oh, that'd be great. If we got a second Hulk movie, that'd be great.
Like a Necessary Evil type thing.
Yeah.
Well, Bruce Banner is supposed to be in the She-Hulk show.
Okay.
He is supposed to be in that. So.
Well, we don't really like Bruce. Bruce is okay. I mean.
Well, I'm assuming the Hulk is in it too. We just know that. I'll say it this way: we know that the actor is going to be in.
Okay.
We don't know if it's Bruce Banner or Hulk or Professor Hulk. We don't know to what extent. So, but anyways, well, I think that what would you rate it out of 10, Shang-Chi?
I'd probably go with 7.5, maybe 7.8.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a good movie. I like the soundtrack. I mean, it wasn't like amazing soundtrack, but it was good. It was a good soundtrack. I kind of grooved with every song that got played, and it felt in rhythm with the movie. Pacing was a little slow for me because it kind of felt really long, but overall it was good. I didn't like that there wasn't the main villain, or that the supposed villain died at the end of the movie.
I thought the actors were really good. Everybody
Yeah.
acted very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would totally watch it again. I would honestly watch it again. If there wasn't anything else like really new in theaters, I would totally watch that again. But anyways, we're gonna move on. We got one more thing before we start to wrap up the stream and everything. But he's going to talk a little bit about the NFL. It's starting back up again. And what are your thoughts or predictions for the new season?
Predictions. I mean, it's going to be a great season now. I love the fans are back. Love that we don't have any restrictions anymore, and fans can just come to the stadiums and pack it out. I think that's what we were so missing. Like last year, you realize how important fans are to the games. Like not just basketball and not just football, all the games. Like fans are so important. They play a crucial element, to the outcome of the game.
Definitely.
And I think we realized that last year. So I'm so excited for the fans to be back. I'm so excited to watch football again and just see it takes its ups and downs. But guys, we have a new segment that I want to debut today.
Yay!
We'll be doing regularly. We're gonna call it Eric's Picks, or maybe we'll change it because I feel like everyone does that. Everyone calls it their picks or something like that. What should we call something else, right?
I don't know. Predictions with Eric. I don't know. we could figure something out.
We'll figure something out. We'll have a whole little slide thing.
We'll have a stream or a bumper and everything.
Okay. But basically what we're going to do is I'm going to read to Eric the matchups. So I'm just going to give him the teams, and he's going to pick who does he think is going to win. I'm going to catalog all this stuff, and then next week we'll see what his record was. Now, I'm doing this because specifically Eric doesn't really watch football anymore.
I used to be bigger into it. Sports in general, I used to be way into, and I have considered watching more this year. For this segment, I may not, but I have considered getting back into it and watching a little bit more. But we'll see. So Jonathan's going to hit me with each week of football. I'm just gonna say who I think will win, and he's going to keep record of it. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. So first thing tomorrow, Giants versus Washington. So
Giants.
The football team versus the Giants. What you got?
Let's see, with the football team versus the Giants. What do you mean?
Yes, they're called the Washington football team now. They were the Washington Redskins.
Because they're not the Redskins. They're called the football team.
The football team. That's what they called. And this is why you left.
Yeah, it is. Oh my gosh, the football team. Oh boy.
Isn't that mascot their mascot must be so scary.
Just a human in a football helmet. He's like, the football team. Man, generic. They should have just called it the Generics.
Generics.
Oh
no,
my
this
gosh.
is just called NFL. The Washington NFL.
Oh my gosh. I mean, come on. I want to know who was actually upset about that name. I want to know because I feel like it was a bunch of white people who were angry about it. Oh my gosh. Okay. And I feel like nobody was really actually upset, but whatever. It is what it is. I'm gonna say the football team is coming out on top.
The football team?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next, we got the Raiders versus the Steelers.
The Raiders versus the. Oh man, I don't know a whole lot about these two teams. This year, anyways. I'm gonna say the Steelers. I think they have from what I've seen that I know of, they have a decent team. I don't know much about the Raiders. Is Marshawn Lynch with the Raiders?
No, he's not. He's not. He's retired.
Oh, but he came back out of retirement, didn't he?
He did, and then he retired again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, fine.
When was the last time you watched football? So you can let everyone know.
The last time I watched football?
Yeah. How long has it been? Like a couple years, or
maybe like 2 seasons ago?
2 seasons ago? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, super interesting.
So I'll watch. So like I'll watch some ESPN every once in a while. So I'll get a little bit of insight. And because I used to be really big into sports, I follow a lot of sports stuff on Facebook. So I know a little bit about like who might be decent. But I don't know. I can't give you accurate predictions. So we'll see how this goes.
But you at least know like Tom Brady's not on the Patriots anymore, right?
Oh, yeah. I know that.
Okay.
I mean, he won the Super Bowl last year.
Okay, so you do know who won the Super Bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we got the 49ers versus the Eagles.
49ers versus the Eagles. Oh, see, this is a team I know nothing about either one of these teams, so I couldn't even tell you.
That's the fun.
Let's see. Which one has Colin Kaepernick? Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Going with the Eagles. I feel like the 49ers haven't been good for a while, so I'm going with the Eagles.
All right, next we got the Texans and the Browns.
The Texans and the Browns. Oh, let's go with the Browns.
Browns, okay.
It's a bad bet because they're historically bad, but I believe didn't they get a new quarterback recently?
Yes. You should actually know this because he's from Oklahoma.
And they got Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
And he's been doing several seasons ago.
Yeah.
Oh. He's been doing decent though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been doing good. Yeah, they made the playoffs last year.
That's what I thought. I thought they did. So okay, yeah, let's go with him.
All right, Broncos versus Jags.
Oh, I'm going with Jacksonville.
Going with Jacksonville?
Yeah, man.
All right.
No reasoning. Just throwing it out.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. The Saints versus Panthers.
Oh, man, I'm starting to realize how much I don't know about football. I need some help. Is Drew Brees still with the Saints? He is, right?
No, he retired. Drew Brees retired.
He retired?
They got Jameis Winston now. I don't know if you know who Jameis Winston is.
I do know who Jameis Winston is, yeah.
Yeah.
When did he retire?
The guy who's eating the W's.
When did he retire?
Stole like some crabs or something like that in college. He retired last season.
Okay.
It had to be season away. Yeah, it was new.
I figured it had to be new.
Yeah.
He was getting kind of old. So they have Jameis Winston. Who's the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, the Panthers we just got dang, wow. I should know his name. Panthers.
Dang, you're wearing a Carolina Panthers shirt. Come on, man.
No, we just got him, okay? In my defense, he's new, okay? I keep wanting to say Sam Bradford for some reason. It's not Sam Bradford.
No, it's not. He's been out for a while.
Sam Darnold. Okay, I was close. Sam Bradford, Darnold. Okay, close. Sam's.
I hate to go against the Panthers because the last time I knew their defense was really solid.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm going to go against the Panthers this time.
You're going to go with Saints?
Going to go with the Saints.
All right. Next we got Rams versus the Colts.
We're going with the Rams for this
one.
Going
with the Rams? Why
my boy Matt Stafford.
Okay, all right.
I'm just kidding.
But you're going with the Rams, though.
I am going with the Rams, though.
The Los Angeles Rams.
There's been a lot of talk about Matt Stafford in the news recently because they're thinking he's going to do good at the Rams. I don't know why. Because he was okay at Detroit. So I'm a Detroit Lions fan. I know I forgot my bag, but I'm a Detroit Lions fan. And he was doing okay for us for a while. He was solid. He was dependable, but he always threw the game away. Like he'd take too much. He's too risky as a quarterback. But I think he'll come out with a week 1 win. And then there'll be all this talk about how good he's going to be, and he's going to do bad. But
okay, so you go with the the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, we got the Bills versus the Dolphins.
The Bills versus the Dolphins. Let's go with the Bills.
Bills? Why Bills?
Just the Dolphins have always been horrible. Ever since I've known them, they've always been bad.
Okay. All right. Next, we got the Patriots versus the Jets.
Let's go with the Patriots.
Patriots. Okay. Why Patriots?
I think even though Tom Brady isn't there anymore, they do have a new quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's kind of scary, but the Bills, you said the Bills, right?
No, they're going against the Jets.
The Jets. Well, I mean, the Jets are horrible. They've always been horrible. I can tell you who the horrible teams are. So, yeah.
I don't know. You might be surprised. You might be surprised next week. But okay.
We'll see.
So you go with Patriots. Okay. Next we got Bengals versus the Bears.
Bengals versus the Bears. Let's go with the Bears.
Bears.
Da Bears.
Why the Bears?
Bears. I really have no reasoning.
Okay.
I think I want to say in the past year they're a decently strong team, but I really don't know.
All right. Next we got the Falcons versus the Buccaneers.
Let's go. Oh, wait. Versus the Bucks?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the quarterback for the Bucks right now?
Tom Brady.
That's right. Thank you. Let's go with the Bucks.
You go with the Bucks.
Put it all on Tom.
Okay.
I couldn't remember. I was like, wait a minute. Who's he? I was like, I know the Bucks they did good. So yeah, let's go with the Bucks. Man.
They did good. Yeah, won a Super Bowl. Okay. Vikings versus Cardinals.
Oh, that's a fun matchup. Is Adrian Peterson still playing for the Vikings?
No, he's retired.
He retired?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! When did he retire?
I think a couple seasons ago.
Wow, I'm way out of it. Let's go with.
Or maybe he hasn't. I don't think he's made an official retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. But he was okay. He was in the Lions last season. He's a free agent right now. Yeah, he's a free agent right now.
We'll go with the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good pick. Okay, Titans versus Seahawks.
Let's go with the Seahawks.
All right, why Seahawks?
No reason. I feel like they're better.
Okay, that's fair. Cowboys versus Chargers.
Stephen A. Smith's gonna yell at me, but we'll go with the Cowboys.
We them boys, okay? Why Cowboys?
Is Phillip Rivers still at the Chargers?
No. He went to the Colts for a season. I think he might be a free agent.
Okay. Because the Chargers are never in the news, so and that's why. Like last I heard, I can't remember the last thing I heard about the Chargers. Dallas Cowboys are always in the news, but they usually they're just so unpredictable. You know, I'd rather put it on them because I know more about that team than I do the Chargers. So
that's fair. Yeah, Phillip Rivers is he's retired. He's a coach now. He's a coach at a high school team.
Oh, okay.
All right, Chiefs versus Ravens.
Man, are we almost done?
We got one more left on this.
Okay. Chiefs versus Ravens. Yeah. Let's go with the Chiefs. My boy Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Last one, Lions versus Packers, Monday night.
You know who I got to pick for that, man? No, I'm just gonna,
that bad man.
I don't even know who their quarterback is this season. Who is the Lions quarterback?
Jared Goff.
Oh, we got Jared Goff?
Yeah.
But we had him last year, didn't we? No.
This is off-season trade.
Let's go with the Lions.
Going the Lions over the bad man? Okay.
Over Aaron Rodgers? I mean, they keep saying he might win a Super Bowl this year.
I play that every year, though.
Yeah.
Every year they're like, Aaron Rodgers might win a Super Bowl this year.
But he's getting old, though, man.
Yeah,
let's go. In the last few years, he has not been as on as he usually is.
Okay.
You know?
Hot take.
You don't think so?
Oh, no, he's been amazing the last few years, but.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I should go with the Green Bay Packers.
Let me help you out. Let me help you out. They got blown out last week. They scored 3 points and they got blown out.
But wait, this is
30.
Is this week 2?
Yeah, this is week 2.
Oh.
They got blown out by 30 by the
Who did? The Lions?
No.
The Packers?
Packers.
See,
we got blown out by the Eagles.
I thought this was week 1. So now I'm all like, oh crap. I don't even know if I would have seen the records.
Sorry, they got blown out by the Saints. They lost by 35 to Saints.
Wow.
They scored 3 points the whole game.
I'll go with the Lions. Are the Lions 0-1?
I think so.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
They
Y'all barely
always
lost
lose.
though. It was close. It was really close.
That's the story of the Lions, man. We always barely lose, but we still lose all the time.
That wraps up all the picks, though. That's Eric's picks for the week. Jot them down. If you're betting, you heard Eric. Take those teams.
I didn't say take them.
If you're like 14-0 next week, I'm gonna laugh so hard. It's gonna be hilarious. I'm like, okay, for sure, Eric knows what he's talking about.
If I'm like 10-4, I'd be surprised. I'd be like, dang, winning record. Let's go. Anyways, awesome. Well, I'm excited to see how this turns out. So we'll find out next Monday night. Of this next coming Monday is when the game's on.
No, actually Thursday. Games start Thursday.
Thursday's the first day. Yeah. Who plays Thursday?
The Giants versus the football team.
Giants versus the football team. Okay, we'll see how I do. Anyways, all right. Well, we're going to go into our last topic for today. And Jonathan was the one who actually brought this to my attention. He saw a video recently. We're both, obviously, Jonathan and I are both Christians. If you've watched our last video, I'm sure you got that takeaway. We talked about church a little bit. And so I usually call this our life segment. It just has to do with, our personal opinions and things like that, which you guys can always join us on that if you want to. Or you can skip over this part if you want to. You definitely don't have to listen to it. So, but we'd love it if you did. So we're going to go ahead and start on this. But Jonathan saw a video recently. It was from, I forgot his name. He was a broadcaster.
Larry King. Yeah.
And John, do you want to tell him about it a little bit? Because
I want to start off by saying, guys, we don't purport to be theologians who know everything about the Bible there is to know. So
you don't. That makes one of us.
We're humble and we're still learning. So we're not saying that this is for sure the best answer you can best possibly find, but we do want to provide some clarity. I was watching a Larry King segment where he was talking about God and his belief and how he used to believe, but he no longer believes due to certain issues that came up that were unexplained to him. And the main issue was about natural disasters. And that's just one we want to tackle today. There's some stuff about suffering as well that we'll probably tackle at a different time period. But right now, I just want to talk about natural disasters and just like things that happen in the world. Again, I want you guys to understand, like, I'm not saying this is the only answer or this is the best answer. I'm saying this is an answer. If you're having this question and it's causing you to doubt or is causing a lack of faith or anything like that, consider this as something that might help you. I'm gonna give my answer and then Eric will give his. But if you're looking at natural disasters and you're wondering, how do we know there's a God, or how can we say there's a God when this kind of stuff happens at random places like Katrina, like the things that happen, in Japan, storms there, and like earthquakes and wildfires in California, those kind of things. First, I want to say that doesn't disprove God. That doesn't lend itself to say, oh, that's how we know there's not a God. So you can't. That wouldn't be a very strong argument to use for that. And secondly, I want to say the entire basis of Christianity centers around the fact that we believe that the world is fallen. So when we're talking about things like earthquakes, we're talking about things like natural disasters, we're talking about things that just randomly hit places out of nowhere. We're not saying God caused them. What we're saying is that this world is broken because of the sin that we've all committed. Because we've all committed sin, this world is broken. It's not going the way it's supposed to go. God never intended for there to be hurricanes every single season that kill, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people every year. But we broke this world, and there's a solution to that. There's a solution to all of this. And that's why everything here is viewed as temporary. We view it as something that's going to one day pass away. Because in the future, when we all, stand before the judgment seat and God grants us permission into his kingdom, we're all going to get a perfect body. And God's going to destroy the world and remake it in his image, in the way that he really wanted it to be in the very beginning. The way that it was in the garden, where we walk and talk with God and everything is perfect. There is no suffering. There is no pain. There is no, tropical storms that just wipe places out.
Mhm.
And it's really tragic, and I hate that it happens, but that's the world that we live in currently. But if you look at this world as that's all there is, it makes sense that you have a lack of faith in whatever else is beyond that. But this world isn't all there is. There's so much more beyond that. And that's what we as Christians look towards as our hope. When we say we have a hope that never fades, that never perishes, that never rusts, that never ages, we have a hope in eternity. And that's where we can look at these things while we mourn them. We rejoice because we know that those people who did believe are now in the presence of God, sitting at his, sitting with him and enjoying the luxuries of being in their perfect bodies in the perfect universe.
Mhm.
But Eric, you go for it.
Well, my answer to that has always been, I'll say this first. So I think that's a pretty rational question. I don't think it's irrational to ask that. Like, why do bad things happen if there's a good God? And I think this is a pretty popular viewpoint, but it makes all the sense in the world to me. When we're talking about natural disasters or just bad things that happen to people, to start off of Jonathan's part, how this all started was in the Garden of Eden when we sinned, when we went against God's law. Mm-hmm. So when we went against his one rule that he had, I'm starting to think about Batman. You have the one rule, and I'm gonna break it. But anyways, when we think about God in the Garden of Eden, he had one rule. He said, you can eat of any tree you want, just don't eat of the knowledge of good and evil. And back then, when we're talking about in the Garden of Eden, we had a much different relationship with God. It was an actual relationship. We didn't have this idea of Adam and Eve. The reason it's called the knowledge of good and evil is because they didn't have this idea of morality. Now, that's not saying we need to throw out morality now that we know it, but back then, they didn't have this idea of reality. All they knew is they had this relationship with a God who was loving, who cared for them, who provided for them, who gave them a job and a purpose, and that they were a creation of him. But not only that, they were made in his image. And so they had this idea of, they had this wonderful relationship with God. And when they ended up eating the fruit of good and evil, Satan lied to them and said, you'll become like God, almost like you'll become God yourselves. Now, it's an important distinction because they definitely didn't become God. They did become, but they started to know of things that God knew. They knew of evil. They knew of darkness. They knew of sin. And the thing is, with sin comes temptation. You never really get tempted to do the good thing, right? You never get tempted to do something that is good.
Man, I really want to help that old lady cross the street.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. You never get tempted to do the good thing. You always get tempted to do the bad thing.
Yeah.
And so, along with, they got tempted to eat that. Along with that, once they began to eat it, is they knew of this whole other world of darkness that God never intended for us to go through. He never intended for us to have that knowledge, not because he was trying to hide something from us, but because he was trying to protect us. But now that you've rung that bell, not to sound like Batman versus Superman, but the bell can't be unrung. It can't be. You can't unring that bell once it's happened. So it's almost like a Pandora's box, so to speak. All of the evil, was now within mankind, and so we are now fallen. And that's what Jonathan's talking about when we live in a fallen world. Now, to answer the question of what God ended up doing was very mercifully, God actually told them they would die, and they do die. It's funny because when I was a kid, I heard that. I always thought they died instantaneously. I was like, hey, they didn't die. And it was like, no, they are going to die. It's just going to take many years for them to die. That was always my thought.
Which the God is like, because he 1,000 years is like a day, and a day is like 1,000 years.
Exactly. Yeah. For God, who is eternal, like they die very quickly. So now we have this life where we die, we have pain. God says that now, women will experience pain during childbirth, and we'll have to work by the sweat of our brow. So now life has become a lot harder because of what we did. Now the crazy thing is people always want to say, well, if God truly cared and loved us, he wouldn't allow bad things to happen. Well, the thing is, he didn't allow bad things to happen back in the garden. However, we had this one special thing that love comes from. Love is only real and pure and true if we have free will to choose. right?
Yeah.
Because if we don't have the will to choose, we're just robots at the end of the day. Well, in order for God to truly love us, he has to allow us to choose. That's why he gave them that rule to live by, but he did not force them to not eat, because God's going to say, if you truly love me, you will want to fulfill my commandments. You'll want to obey me, because you know how wonderful I am, how good I am, how pure I am.
Yeah.
And so what happened was they chose to turn away from God. When that happens, when that choice is going to lead to another choice, which leads to another choice. Whenever we choose to turn away from God, usually leads us down a bad path, a path of definitely not holiness, but a path of reckoning. And in order for God to still allow us to have a loving relationship with us, he has to allow free will to take place. And we can't have free will if God is stopping everything in the world, because then you have to ask yourself, well, where does that draw the line? Well, if God doesn't, if God stops a storm or a tornado, why doesn't he just stop the man who's using a gun to kill someone? Why doesn't he stop? And why doesn't he just stop you from crossing the street and getting hit by a car? Because at the end of the day, that person doesn't know that they're going to get hit by a car, and they're going to be arguing with God. God, why can't I just cross the road? Why? And then, our stubbornness as humans is that, one thing about this show that Jonathan and I love to do is we love to talk. We debate a little bit, but we disagree a lot. I mean, how many times do you think you would disagree with the will of God? If God was like, hey, I'm telling you, don't cross the road, I doubt you would believe him. If you, even though you say, you'd say, oh, well, he's God. It's because we live in a fallen world.
Yeah.
We have to build a loving and trusting relationship with God in order to trust him the way that we want to. So at the end of the day, what I believe it comes down to is having a loving relationship with God. It requires free will. To say, you know what, it takes a real true love to be able to say, God, I want your will to be done and not mine. Because that's really what this all comes down to. It was a choice over my will versus God's will. And whenever we have people in general, whenever we honestly on this earth, because we have free will, and because we have a fallen world where there is free will, those two things mixed together, we're always going to have chaos, and we're always going to have things that are, that are tragic. But the great news is that God has built another world. He's going to build us a new heaven and a new earth, is what it says in the end days, where God is going to make us perfect again. And the awesome thing is that in those moments, we will only have one desire, because he's going to strip us away of all of our sin, of everything. So anyways, that's where I would say my part goes.
A lot of people would say they wouldn't argue with God, but let me just stop you there. If you would argue with your parents as a little kid who knows nothing about anything, you would argue with God.
Yeah, definitely.
That's just the nature of being a human, is that you constantly want your way to be done.
Yeah.
And that's what we're, as Christians, we're called to deny ourselves and deny our way of doing things and do God's way of doing things. Even though to us and to the rest of this world, they may look backwards, they may look like they don't make sense, but that's why we trust in God. That's why we put our faith in him, because we trust that he knows what he's doing. He knows better than us, and that we should listen to him. So.
And we struggle with that. Everybody struggles. If you're a Christian, you struggle with that. It's not easy. And the thing is, it's almost too, in the Garden of Eden, we had this direct connection to God. We had this direct correlation where he would talk to us and we could hear him. We've messed that connection up too, because of that choice that we made. And because what's happened is, as the world has not gotten better and better and better, to be cynical, the world is not trying to be cynical, but the world has actually gotten worse and worse and worse. It's gotten more sinful and more sinful over time. What do you think that does with that connection, with trying to hear the voice of God? That becomes incredibly difficult. It's something that you really have to work at to hear. So, people are always like, well, why doesn't God just stop me? It's like, how do you even know you're trying to listen to God? How do you even know you're trying to hear him? It's really hard to do that, because there's so much in the world that has gone wrong, that it definitely muddles up that communication, and we're not putting limits on God. We're openly saying this is a result of choices we've made, not that God has made. And for God to remove a choice is for God to remove free will. So, that's where it leads us at the end of the day.
Yeah. He wants willing love. He doesn't want robotic love. Robotic love is too easy. Just kind of turn the knobs, and it's like, I love you, God.
Well, and I'm not trying to be too grotesque, but this is a real analogy. You know, you think about like right now they're making sex robots. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if your wife or your spouse was like that? What kind of relationship would that be? You know, like as men, Jonathan and I are both married, and we've talked about this before. One thing we love about being married is that our wife chooses to go to bed with us. You know, we're not forcing her hand. She wants to be with us. She wants to love us. You know,
we have a word for that in the American legal system.
What's that?
When you force a woman to go to bed with you.
It's
called rape.
Oh,
so
rape. That's yeah. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where it's like if I had a robot that could fulfill my desires, how fulfilling would that actually be? Well, over time, you know, you would fall out of love or lust with that thing, and you'd realize this thing is just a machine. It's just a robot.
Yeah.
And God doesn't want that. He wants people who willingly. And the cool thing is this, you know, think about it this way: this life we live on Earth, it's a test. It's a testament to who we truly are. And you know, it's kind of not to be. It's kind of like what they say in New York: if you can make it here on Earth, you can make it anywhere, right? Like you can make it, and that's kind of, you can look at it that way, where God is saying, I want, you know, use your years to serve me, use your years to do my will. And guess what? When you get to heaven, man, you're going to want to do nothing but please him, because all those evil desires, all those temptations are going to be stripped away. And you've been able to fight and battle that here on Earth. When you get to heaven, it's going to be so much greater. So
yeah,
anyways.
Absolutely. Just to conclude, guys, Larry King, absolutely wrong. Don't listen to him. Look, guys, we live in the 21st century. If you're looking for questions that, if you have serious questions that need answers in order for you to place your faith in Jesus, there are serious, really, really good answers. Like the amount of answers that we have nowadays compared to like 50 or even 100 or even 2,000 years ago is insane. The amount of archaeological research that we've done, the amount of philosophy study that we've done over the years, the amount of textual criticism that we've done, the amount of, you know, things that we found as far as evidence for the authority of the Bible or for the believability of the historical account of Jesus. It's like, it's insane. So if you're really looking for, if you really have questions that you're looking for answers, you can find them. They're easy to find.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, and one person I would recommend, I mean, you know, a couple of people, if you just look up apologetics in general, you'll find a ton of stuff. I mean, I listened to a guy named Frank Turek. You can look him up on
Frank
YouTube.
Is great. Frank is great.
Also, if you know, you kind of don't throw the baby out with the bathwater when you listen to this guy, but Ravi Zacharias has a lot of great stuff. He, towards the end of his life, they found out that he was doing a lot of terrible things in his ministry, but that doesn't take away from the apologetics that he's done.
Yeah, the knowledge.
The knowledge that you can get from that as well. So, but the one thing I do want to say too is, you know, it's great to look for all this proof all the time, but you have to remember that faith is also believing. You know, not to sound cheesy, but it's also believing without seeing. You're not always going to get all of your questions answered. And it's the same way with science. You know, you can only go so far until you reach an end where it's like, well, we haven't figured that out yet. We don't know. And guess what? You may not ever know. You know, there's lots, you know, that's just how life is. You're going to have questions to life that you won't always have answered. But the great thing about God is that he holds those in his hands. And whether you're going to get the answer to that in this life or the next life, you know, one of these days you will get all those answers. And the great thing about God is that he's real. You know, he's real. Jonathan and I both have experienced that. So just go into it remembering you're not always going to have all of your questions answered. Some will be revealed to you over time. Some of them will be revealed instantly, and some of them, you know, just like any other kind of belief system, you're not always going to get them all answered later down the road. But
absolutely. That's the question. That's the question you just got to ask yourself, which is the point I was trying to get to, is that if you have these questions and there are legitimately good answers out there, if you're not looking for them, ask yourself if it's really about the questions. Because like Eric was saying, sometimes questions and answers can only go so far. It really comes down to, where's your heart at? Is your heart really like, I'm trying to pursue God, or is your heart more like, I'm kind of okay where I'm at?
Yeah.
And if that's your issue, if there are issues that you're just okay where you're at, that's a more serious issue to take a look at than, you know, trying to figure out what's the cosmological argument for is there a God or not. Like that's a good question to ask yourself. But if the answer does not really matter to you because you're going to be the way you're going to be regardless, then that's not really the question to ask yourself. The question to ask yourself is, where is my heart truly at right now? Have I really tried to humbly chase after God, or am I just okay being who I am, doing what I'm doing, and I don't care whatever happens in the end?
Definitely, for sure. Well, that's good, man. Well, I think that's a great place to end it for this week. So we got episode 2 under our belt, and we're doing pretty good. We're keeping it around that 2.5 hour mark. So we're proud of us for keeping it around there.
Clip time.
But anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and end it. But again, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We're also on Twitch. We're also on Facebook. So you guys can always comment there, and feel free to share, like our pages and give us a follow, because we are also on all social medias. We're still pretty new, so we haven't posted a whole lot there. I think Facebook is our most active one, but feel free to reach out, and we'll have another episode next week, and we'll also have some clips fairly soon.
Guys, if you want to figure out how to support us, this is the best way you can. Like, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Every comment, every like, every subscribe gets us a little bit closer to where we want to be. So, like, you watching this, don't think someone else is going to like this video for you. Please, we need you. Okay, you're on the team.
Even if you're just scrolling, just like it real fast. Like, oh, boop, there we go. So anyways, all right, guys. Well, this has been Just Visiting with Jonathan and Eric. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. But Jonathan, good talking to you as always.
Amen. Same to you.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.